When an ENT surgeon walks into a comedy club, a startup pitch meeting, and an ICU and actually belongs in all three, you know this is no ordinary doctor. This Doctor's Day, we sit down with Dr. Jagdish Chaturvedi, ENT specialist, stand up comedian, author, innovator, and one of the most unconventional voices in Indian medicine today. From rural diagnostics to viral comedy sketches, from surgical theatres to startup labs, Dr. Jagdish has worn many hats and somehow made them all fit. Named one of MIT's top 35 global innovators under 35 and creator of over 18 medical devices, his journey blends science, creativity, and relentless curiosity. But this episode isn't just about his story. Within all the laughs and lightness, we unpack some of the toughest realities in healthcare today. The rising violence against doctors, the emotional burnout, the flawed system foreign medical graduates face, the changing landscape of the Indian medical field, and the blurred boundaries of work life balance for healthcare professionals. We also dive into the world of medical content creation, how social media has become a tool, a stage, and sometimes a double edged sword for doctors trying to reach and educate the public. This is Rebooting the Brain, and this is the story of a doctor who never stayed in the box.
ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवम् उपास्महे आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीव उपास्महे हयग्रीव उपास्महे.
Rebooting the Brain, powered by PRS Neurosciences. Namaste, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of Rebooting the Brain podcast. As usual, I will start with my shloka. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. As the sloka says, from darkness to light, from ignorance to the truth, and from death to immortality. Sloka has been one of my driving forces to explore every single day new things and become a better human being and a better doctor and better everything else in life. I recommend all of you to take the principles from this and try it every day in your life so that you can become a more productive human being. So, hi everybody, my name is Dr. Sharan Srinivasan. I'm a functional neurosurgeon from Bengaluru, India. And before I go to the guest we have for the day, some housekeeping rules. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, click the like button, share this video with as many people as possible, and hit the bell icon. And don't forget to comment if you have anything to say or make something to say on that. So today we have a very, very unique person. Why am I saying unique? Somebody who is very dear to me because he is, the amount of things that we have in common. I personally think that we are, brothers, separated at birth. In so many reasons. So today you're going to have a unique thing where the real Dr. Sharan is going to talk to the real Dr. Sharan on this podcast. So let me introduce the one and only ENT surgeon, doctor, entrepreneur, author, innovator, and a fantastic stand-up comedian, Dr. Jagdish Chaturvedi.
So,
Jagdish, welcome to our
welcome.
show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And it's an honor to be here with you. I see my future in you, and your future looks very bright and looks like it's going to be nice.
Yes, of course. This is no question about that fact. So, as we go through this podcast, I'm quite sure we're going to talk about topics that is dear to both our hearts.
Yes.
And as we say, we don't like the beaten paths. We like to create our own paths.
Yes,
And
yes.
that path creates a little bit of controversy. We love it because that at least gets us in the news for whatever reason.
Our paths are like the white topping on the road. They disrupt everything around,
Correct.
but they stay there for a long period of time.
Correct. I agree with you. So, as you see, our video started with the violence against doctors that's going on. And as doctors, we are here. This is a doctor special day podcast. July 1st of every year is Doctors' Day, and we want to. Even it's a day of celebration, but also a day of introspection. Why is it that something negative is happening to such a field that is what to say, closer to God, as people say, and things like that? And I always say the two sides of a coin. There has to be, you need two hands to clap. So I'll say two things, before I give it to you. One is a former director of AIMS had said that the problem why the violence happens because ineffective communication is happening to the people, the patient or their family. On the other side, why are these young people getting hammered for no fault of theirs? Is it the training or lack of it or whatever it is? So what is your take on this?
So I think violence against doctors has been a topic that I voice out a lot about, but I do it using humor quite a bit. A lot of my stand-up comedy, if anybody's attended, it revolves around how to prevent violence against doctors, and I use my sarcasm around it. But on a serious note, I think there are multiple factors that I think lead towards this unfortunate thing. It's not only in India; it's actually global.
Global, I know. I agree.
Even I saw a US, United States report saying that the emergency physicians are the highest to get, to be victims of violence.
And most of them are hidden by the patient itself.
By the patient themselves, yeah, and because of
Crazy.
the, the nature of the work also.
Correct.
And also in Europe and many other parts. And in India, particularly, this is becoming a rising trend, and I'm not justifying it, but I think there are multiple reasons why it happens. So we can take it from both the patient and the relative perspective, as well as from the doctor's perspective.
Correct.
From the patient's perspective, I think we are moving from a culture of healthcare where it was okay to be very dictative to a patient to now a more explanatory requirement. Earlier, if there's a doctor who's studied from a very good place, sees just gets 2 or 3 minutes with a patient, and sees hundreds of patients every day, say like, "मैंने बोल दिया, ये करो." I am authority.
Correct.
And it used to be acceptable.
You better listen to me.
1970s, 1980s,
Correct.
till 1990s, doctor ne bol diya, then we are just going to follow it because this person has the training, the education, will follow it. But now with access to information and access to Google, who wanted to be an oncologist and is diagnosing everyone with cancer left, right, and center, these people have also a lot of misinformation. Googleitis, they have misinformation, they have more questions, and they need to be resolved, and that leads to very unrealistic expectations that they also have. So when they come,
Especially you give the opinion that Google is not given.
Google is not given, or they don't want that opinion, or they want a reason for it.
Correct.
And when they come to the doctor, and if the doctor is still in that mindset that, I'm seeing a lot, I'm burnt out, I don't have enough time with one person, and I'm just giving very calculatedly the accurate diagnosis and treatment, but the patient is not convinced, and patient is not, convinced that this is the outcome that I'm going to get. And when it lands up in an emergency, I think the lack of communication between the patient's relatives and the care is something that I have faced also as a relative of a patient in my family also, that sometimes you have absolutely no clue what's happening in the ICU, what's happening in the operation theater, is things going positive or negative, nobody has told us anything, and then suddenly they hear a bad outcome, and then it is a grief reaction. Correct. Grief reaction is anger, and then it is why me, which is questioning, and then it is resolution. The resolution stage comes much later.
Correct.
By that time, doctor is in grief reaction.
Correct.
Right. But anger is a reaction that some people have to grief. So
true.
it's just a personality, and that time whoever is there in front of them, they anger, they question,
They bear the brunt of it.
and the outburst happens. Now there are a lot of things that can be done to mitigate this. Of course, from the system standpoint also, there has to be certain protocols, certain security measures to make sure that these things which are likely to happen in emergency and ICU settings, there has to be a protocol in place to make sure that it doesn't escalate. Some hospitals are able to do that, and many times it is not feasible to do that because people start
Especially in
with
smaller towns, government car has
very
hospitals of
lean. They run the things and they are doing they don't think about these kind of things. And many times it is also that from a doctor's perspective, and here I'll bring about the nature of employment of doctors today is usually by definition underpaid, overworked, and that is how the organization will sustain. It is a systemic thing. You run a hospital, sir, and if I run clinics and hospitals, or if we were to pay what somebody actually deserves, you will not sustain.
Correct.
And that is true, because
Unless you are an MBA, probably.
unless you're an MBA, you will make them feel that they're good by making some nice abbreviations and telling them some value that they're getting. But the thing is, when somebody is underpaid and the work is higher, there is no interest or incentive to. After one point, somebody will question, I'm getting the same amount. And it just work after work, burden after burden is put. And they're obviously burnt out. Stress is a huge issue, and they're also unhappy. At that point of time, things like soft skills, communication, keeping someone informed is not something that will be the main thing in their heads. And their of course main focus also should be to save the life of the patient. And there'll be a lot of other stress because it's not a single modality treatment. There are nurses involved, there are other departments involved. Many times you're waiting for an emergency surgery and the patient is only not shifted in the OT for half an hour. So how will the doctor get? It's worked up. Like mera aadha ghanta chala gaya. I could have, I needed to be there much earlier. All of that is building up. Patients and their relatives are asked to stand behind, and then either the disease has progressed or it's late. It's health at the end of the day. It's not like...
And time is, like we said, time is brain. Sometimes the time can be a big difference.
And patients and the relatives think that we did the act of bringing to the hospital. That means now things will be fine.
Correct.
And that is not always the case for whatever reason. And then all of that, the doctors' overwork and burnout stress, patients' lack of understanding, expectations, communications, all of that come down. And then the personalities conflict. Different people react in different ways to bad news. Some people may just go to a corner and cry, and some people will be like, this should not happen to somebody else. And then they take that altruistic thing that I will now take things into my hand and make it a big issue because of this. And that's, I think those are very much the reasons that violence occurs. So my statement was not for the healthcare professionals. I was saying, you look at the IT sector, when you talk about this L&T chief and Narayan Murthy and all of these people who talk about excessive work, these people are the ones who have studied, and now they just want the life that they see on social media. They want the big money, but they also want work-life balance. Now, work-life balance has become an important criteria for people of this generation, and now they believe they deserve that work-life balance, and they do not now want to work. And plus, their structure is such that they'll get paid whether or not they work enough.
Let me ask you another question. See, I'm thinking personally that a lot of this also has to do with these movies. Where, and the real life, where the politicians come and hits up a doctor, the hero comes and talks nonsense. So somehow I feel that in many times they showed in bad light, and things like this, and just to enhance the hero's contribution.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that the hero should not be enhanced, but not at the cost of somebody else.
Yes.
That I think is very unfair, and I think we are soft targets because we don't react to anything, etc. And we are a small group. We electorally we are irrelevant. I don't think how many doctors are even voting. I don't even know about that, or the healthcare people.
We're overworked, underpaid, sir. We are just trying to survive. So these are other things that...
Exactly. So that is the problem. That many people don't even understand this damn thing at the end of the day.
Modeling means you look at something and model on it. Sometimes it could be that you've seen this happen in your family, your parents, relatives have reacted, and sometimes you see it on movies and think that this is the right thing.
That's the way to do.
That
it's
I
not
should
wrong.
do.
Correct. I think that is the one message that we want to give the audience. Remember, guys, we come from the same society. We are the same human beings. We are the same education system. We suddenly can't become gods. and the way we are trained is how we react at the end of the day. So if there's some kami in the training process, that has to be addressed. It's a systemic issue at the end of the day. And one of the key things that you said was communication. And I personally think that the effectiveness of communication is not taught as well as in medical school. I've been complaining this to all my teachers, saying that, you can't tell a patient you have cancer. You can't say it like that. There's a way of saying it.
Breaking bad news is an
Yes,
entire art, and there's a
absolutely.
course on it.
Yes, breaking bad news. That's what he said. See, when I was training, you know, I would be called from home just to deal with that. Because imagine somebody, young guy, just married, goes out of the house, gets hit by somebody, he's brought dead or dies by the time the wife and the parents come in, and I have to tell them your husband is no more or your son is no more. And it's not like a terminal stage of cancer that they knew he's going to die one day. So it's very difficult. So I think it's both sides of the coin, as you say, at the end of the day. And I think if both of us introspect, see what best we can do, and we seek the public also to give us those opinions to see how we can do it, I think life is going to be a better way. Because remember one thing, guys, the patient cannot die outside a hospital. So problems will happen, because of which you bring them to hospital. And everybody, whether you have money, you don't have money, even Lord Krishna died one day. So the reality is death is inevitable. There's no way that any of us can do anything about it. But you have to make sure that the right thing was done at the right time. So you also understand the homework of taking the patient to the right hospital. There is no point taking a head injury patient to a gynecology hospital and then shout at the gynecologist. They're saying that see, a lot of people used to come and ask me to give Tetvac injection. I said, I don't know to give injection. They said, what, sir, you're a doctor? I said, see, you can't take an iPhone to an automobile engineer and expect him to repair it. He's also engineer, he's also engineer. So you please understand that I am not an MBBS doctor to give an injection. That's not my job. It's like that. So I think people need to get this perspective, and I don't think they get doctor. You're supposed to do everything, and I think I'm quite sure that you must have also have faced this strange things.
Yes, sir.
And we have seen the Arjikar, the recent rape and murder of that young lady doctor there, which became a big issue. I'm glad that the doctors took it up.
Absolutely.
Because somewhere I think we need to push back to know that we also have strength, we also have something to do. There is collateral impact on what the patient care that happens, and the media also has to be more responsible to make sure that they understand. Somebody, see, if everything is TRP, Jaggi, it just makes no sense. Somebody has to get to the root of the problem and really see what is going on. What do you think?
No, so workplace security, I think, is one of the most important things that should be there, which is missing in most hospitals. There's generally this mindset that hum aapko salary de rahe hain, now you look after yourself. We are not responsible for anything. There are doctors who want to go to camps and they're not providing vehicles. So the colleges and institutes do not even provide a vehicle.
How is that possible?
They say go on your own in your bike, and then somebody meets with an accident. This recently happened. Somebody was sharing that my friend of mine went on a bike and met with an accident to go to the community health center for the job. It's a part of the job, but no transportation is provided. No security is provided. Many times security guards only attack the hostels. All kinds of things, happen. So I think it is the, I would say, organizational attitude that, we have to take accountability of the people that we are, having under our umbrella, who are working under us. That I think somewhere is, culturally in our work environments is lacking, and also because there is no direct backfire to these authorities. When something happens, like it'll die out after a few weeks. All of these cases that you see, there have been protests, there have been all sorts of things that happen, but everyone knows that after 1 or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, some other big news will happen in our country, and this will go away. And there are a lot of parallels that people use, political power that people use and get away. There is no strong obligation to ensure safety from the true sense. They don't really want to do it because it takes cost and resources. And I think that is where I think everyone trying to make things sustainable by cutting costs. Security is one of the things that is the least that is put out, and that then impacts such unfortunate incidences.
Very true.
And on the communication side, I think since we were at that topic, I wanted to say that the education system for a doctor and also the mindset of young doctors are designed to not have good communications. Like if you look at
say that?
The exams are MCQs, they're entrance exams. They're not based on there's no way of measuring aptitude at all. There is whether somebody's interested in the field. If you ask majority of the students that I have spoken to, they say that it is my dream to become a doctor. I'm like, why? because my parents wanted me to become a doctor, because my society wants me to become a doctor. Which field? I want to go into this field because you make most money in it, because there is survival. So many people look at our education as an initial effort for perpetual lifetime relax gain. The work starts there, but they're not in the mindset
Correct.
to work. And our entrance exams are completely non-communicative. It is
Correct.
using a different skill set of memory, ability to
Correct.
recollect it
Just mug
during
and vomit.
stress and do that. Then when they go
Very,
in, they're
very
preparing
true.
for post-graduation, so they
Correct.
spend so much more time with books than with patients. And communication is something that builds with either looking at how your seniors are communicating with patients, and how you get exposure to talk to
Correct.
patients. You put a you like, if you send a student, an intern to the room saying that this mother has lost a child, now you communicate this news, and the doctor has gone, then that intern will realize, oh, I am in this situation and I need to tell this.
Correct.
And everyone will try a few ways and then learn along the way, right? Or you have to tell that this complication has happened at the after the surgery. Now you tell this to the patient,
True.
or they see a senior doctor, how they're telling it.
True.
How are they layering that information?
Like a role model.
How
Or
is
somebody
it?
did,
But you don't see that. They're just most of the time students are running away to study, and they're not even studying from the professors from the college.
Correct.
They're studying from other external sources,
And
reading
this
books,
tuition classes
because
or-
every time there is this goal that will give them that perpetual,
next,
like,
correct.
acha karo ab heaven jaoge, no? It's like that. You keep getting to this particular level, and after that things will be set. Then you will have work-life balance, you will have money and all of that. But that is when you enter as a senior resident who is at the bottom of the of the
The
chain
pyramid.
for everyone, right? And at that point of time, they have to work 36 hours, 72 hours, and see. And they are like, I have got through this.
Correct.
I have finished my education.
ask
I have
me.
done all of this, and now I've been asked to struggle for another 5 to 10 years. All of that adds up to violence, to miscommunications, to all of
Frustration.
those frustrations.
And yeah.
And the ones who communicate well are not the ones who crack these exams, but they're able to communicate to their parents why they didn't crack their exam, because they had good communication skills.
We'll come to that.
But then they do something else. So I think communication skills are extremely important for
agree.
clinical practice.
I
for sure.
think so, and I think this is the most neglected. I think if one of the big messages we want to give with this episode of the podcast is effective empathic communication. Not the matter of fact way. You have to really get it. Sometimes it is taking me 6 to 8 hours to declare a problem to a patient, because I have to wait for the family to sort of get it at one step, next step. The treatment is continuing, but you have to give them the news in a way that they get it, they digest it. So
Sir,
it's
but-
quite stressful.
Sir, everybody who does not, like I would say, anybody who does not execute good communication skills as a doctor actually has very good communication skills when they are not doctors. See, everybody has a relationship with their parents, with their
Correct.
friends, right?
Correct,
So
correct.
they are obviously socially adept
Correct.
to have
Not that they are-
empathetic
Correct,
communication.
correct.
For doctors, I think we are in a bit of I would say a complicated situation where when we think of work, we usually say no fun, no enjoyment, no emotion during work is kind of a psyche. Now we are in a work environment where we deal with human beings and life and death
Suffering.
and suffering. So for us, when it is work, it is non-emotional. And many times people also justify saying that, like, a surgeon, if is emotional with the patient, will not really do
Correct,
well.
correct, correct.
So we
That's why
objectify.
don't operate on your relatives
we
and
call
all
them
this.
subject. We
Yeah,
call
yeah.
them patient. We
Correct.
call them
True.
this ID number, because for us it is work. So how do you bring empathy when your entire work environment is designed to not have
That means
empathy?
the system is designed like that.
It's a field, sir. I mean, I'm not
Correct.
saying anybody's right or wrong, but
That's the way it is.
But for me as a doctor, it is work. This patient is my job. Getting the tumor out is my job, right? But I may have a very nice social life outside. I do have all the communicative skills, and I might be listening. I might be doing all sorts of things. But when it comes to a patient, there is a conflict in empathy and work, because I think, the way we are designed to think about work and do something serious, it should be away from emotions.
True. Why I laughed when you were saying is, when the nurse calls me, she says, "Sir, bed number so and so is having problem." And I'm thinking, who is this bed number so? I'm just trying to figure, because I don't remember my patient as a bed number. I remember my patient as his name and some diagnosis.
Yeah.
I said, who is this patient? Which bed number? Then only then after some time, I said, oh, Mr. So and so.
Yes, sir.
Or Mrs. then only I get related to what's happening. So the way I'm storing information is different. The way the nurse is communicating different. It takes me sometimes up to a
Sir,
minute.
ಅದು third floor wing 2 patients are ಕಿರಿಕಿರಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. You know, a toilet ಪಕ್ಕ room patient is shouting. You know,
room number 2601 A patient, sir.
Sir, that 260, whichever patient comes, always is they just shift to another room, they will be fine. So,
Shanti puja ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು.
Shanti puja ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, you know. So that kind of it's a job, sir. At the end of the day, you see
I think it
hundreds of
starts
patients
everywhere. I think it's you very well said that I think it's a problem with communication or the lack of it, or like you said, it's not taught that way. So my request to all those who want to become doctors, become effective communicators. Remember that this is a very important thing. Don't look at his seniors and say he's so brash, I can be like that. Nobody is willing to take that anymore.
Yeah.
You have to spend enough time with people. That's another very important. I tell our primary job is to spend time with the patient, explain to them exactly what's going on, listen to them, examine them. I'll tell you one very interesting story. I had a senior doctor who from Kidwai Hospital, Cancer Hospital, came to me for back pain. And he sat with me, and then I went through, listened to his story, examined him, whatever, look at his scans and everything else. Then I was curiously asked him, how did you find me? So from Bangalore, Sina, he said, I looked for you in Google, sir. Can you imagine a doctor had to use Google to find me? So everything happened. I had to spend about 20-25 minutes with him. And after that, he said, sir, I want to say something to you. I said, yes. So you're the 6th doctor I'm meeting for this same problem. You're the first doctor who touched me.
That's how the entrance exam should be.
He said, nobody even examined me to know where my problem is. So I said, our fundamental job is to do this, no, Jagdish.
Yeah. But sir, we are more trained to do MCQs.
That's what exactly. Life is not an MCQ, no? Yeah?
Yeah.
No patient comes and says, I have pneumonia, treat me.
I have pneumonia or cysticercosis or tuberculosis or COPD. Guess which one? All, none above.
No. So you say you're none of the above, go back.
None of the above, you can go back.
Agreed. I agree with you, because I think the students also, it's such a waste, no? Yeah?
Yes.
I don't know how this stupid system is going to change.
Because of that rat race, I think there is so much focus on achieving than on the skills that you need to sustain in that field.
Because your marks doesn't mean that you get a better. I'm not saying that marks is wrong or bad, but that's only one point of perspective to make this happen. The skill sets you get are very different from what the marks that you get at the end of the day.
And also, sir, it's also not practically possible if 14 lakh people in our country write for 1 lakh seats. You can't do a verbal assessment of everyone.
No,
so.
I think it should come from the house. It should come from the family. I think the parents should be responsible. See, now what's attitude to all the parents is that itna paisa diya, so the institution better take care of everything. I paid for the tuition, he should do everything.
Yeah.
What is everything also they don't know. They're not even screening those, the quota, the suicides and quota,
Sir,
all
I
of those things.
teach in an
crazy.
edtech platform, and I teach in an
Oh,
edtech
okay.
platform, and a student who had paid for the subscription will say, "Bekar teacher hai." The student is judging the teacher by comparing with other teachers on other platforms. Everything has become business and become my value for my money, and
True.
I have paid, now give me the deliverable.
Everything is transactional.
Yeah.
So that I don't think life can be a transaction, and unfortunately it's reflecting in other areas of life. And you said that 14 lakh people are taking the NEET exam, the entrance exam every year. But technically, according to the government of India, we have only 1 lakh seats, rough seats in the entire country. That means you are having 1:14 ratio. Now the reality, and on the other side, Jaggi, what's interesting is nearly many thousand seats are going vacant. Meaning there are people there and the seats are going vacant. That is strange. So when you dig deeper and find out that it is showing two things. Number one, they have not got into the merit or one of the quota systems.
Yeah.
And these seats on these private medical colleges are fixing it so well. See, all the private medical colleges, majority of them are run by politicians or business guys. Some of them are LTMs at the end of the day. They had real estate data. I'm honest about it. I don't know how these guys get into it and do that. And their agenda is very different from not educating people. This is the reality. Majority, many of them. And then what's up? The capitation is so high. 50 lakhs to 1.75 crores for a 5-year course. They're finding Kazakhstan much cheaper. Ukraine cheaper.
So these other international places are looking at it as a business opportunity because for Indians, education is the most important thing. So it's a sitting market duck sitting there.
Correct. Low-hanging fruit.
So instead of you doing anything, if you open a school, even the worst possible place with anything, it will sustain, because education is something that everybody will value culturally in our country. Now these foreign organizations, they've seen a very interesting perspective. They're like, there are a lot of these students who are not getting seats. What if we provide them medical education, but we will not give them license to practice in our country? So that is one of the things that I found most alarming. When I asked these foreign
I didn't know this.
if I ask foreign medical graduate students that if you go to Russia, why don't you work there? They're like, no, here we don't get. We cannot work over here. Or we need certain other things to do, or there are not enough opportunities. So they are basically just provided that degree.
Like outsourced.
It's an outsourced teaching. Where they take teachers from India only. Most of the time, a lot of the Indian teachers go there and they teach in many places, and then they come back. And then they have to then crack the FMG and come back into the same system of pool. So now this student is stuck. Student has gone abroad, and now it cannot work there, or cannot work in any other country which does, because it doesn't recognize their degree in that place, and they now have only option to come back. And the foreign medical graduate exams, they have to also deal with this, that we have our existing interns and students. These students have bypassed by coming from another college, and they all are funneling back into the same thing. So there are low passing rates for these exams, and it's these kids are in a limbo.
I see many of them. There's serious limbo there.
So ideally, if they're studying in a college, they should have a career in that country as equivalent to everyone else, and they should not have the need to come back. And if they come back, they should come back because of a choice. It's not like the entire 60,000 that are going. Now FMGs are roughly about 60,000 foreign medical graduates. Started at 13,000 maybe a few years ago. Every year it's escalating because they cannot afford the Indian fee. And then there are these other foreign universities take advantage of it. They're like, a lot of these people are willing to pay half of it. Half of it is more than enough for them.
Absolutely.
So running a medical college is an extremely lucrative business for anybody if they can have that capex for that infrastructure, get the faculty, and then they earn per student in millions. So
apparently they say that going there not only is cheaper, the quality is better because they've got better hospitals, better thing. Here it's not like that. So you're charging more, you're not giving enough in some rural area. They don't even know what is going on, remote place and things like that. That's why that's the big problem.
They fight at every level, sir. Not only at the entrance of foreign medical graduate, then they don't get internship allotted. Without the internship allotted, they're not going to get the license to practice over here and then do it. So they look at that short thing that I'll finish my MBBS. But
they're not aware of all this when they go in?
They think they'll come back. I mean, everybody is doing it temporarily to finish their MBBS and come back. And I feel that is where they get stuck. And if you do it from a place where your degree is recognized, which is Australia, UK, and US and Canada, there again it's equally competitive. So either you get in easily or you get into an extremely competitive environment if you want to be recognized. So it's
and there I think for foreign graduates getting into surgical fields is extremely difficult. I think they do the medical stuff and things like this. And coming to when you said about the foreign stuff, you remember the flip side of it recently in one of those Central Asian countries, Indian students were beaten up. Because some lavda happened, into some other country by a person with somebody else happened, and everybody looked South Asian for them, and they got hammered. Number one. Number two, during the Ukraine war, one fellow from our own state, Mandya district, lost his life. You remember in that shelling and all.
Yes.
So it's not a simple, easy thing at the end of it. But unfortunately, why is not the government paying attention to the fact that they're losing so much of foreign exchange to, people are willing to spend that money. They're interested to become doctors. Yet these people are not serving them. I'm not understanding this logic at all. What do you think is and they're allowing the seats to go vacant. I don't know how this whole thing is happening. How much money to make? Why are you making so much of money?
Sir, I think from the government standpoint, I've spoken to some people who are higher up at the NMC just to ask, them what is their stand. They're saying that, see, we have an education system. Students are welcome to come into our education system. If you're going abroad, you have to follow a particular system. Now, if that is a very high volume, what can we do? We can only accommodate an X amount through a particular pathway, and they are. I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but that is a situation that they are at. They will obviously prioritize their Indian academic system and all of that. And just because somebody has found an alternative route doesn't mean that thousands and thousands of them can all be accommodated, because then the students here will be feeling like, yeah, we are paying so much more, or we are doing this, and I could have also done this, and those colleges are the ones are benefiting, because they're just getting the college fee, and they are not even taking
And the
responsibility of
collateral stuff.
giving internship. They're not taking responsibility of giving job
True.
opportunities,
And not even the license.
or license, or they don't have a career after that.
Correct.
So that is I think the big dilemma that these foreign medical graduates have.
So let's shift track now to the hot topic that's going on. It's been constantly hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. Is this working hours?
Yes.
So I was just calculating, if a person lives to 70 years, how many hours am I living? It came to some 6 lakh some hours. Okay. 6 lakh or 600, 600,000. Now I said, if I sleep for 8 hours every day, so 1/3 of the time I have lost in sleeping. Okay. So I'm only left with the 2/3. So if I take 4 hours for my daily chores, bathing, eating, manumasi and all of those things, so that's another X amount. So half my life is gone in my daily chores, and this, what is left is this. And then you remove the Sundays, the holidays, and this and that, and our country is full of holidays, this band, that band, and all of that. So what is left is X.
Yeah.
So now this whole thing about working 70-hour weeks that Narayan Murthy said, or 90-hour weeks that the ITC chairman said, what is your take on these hours of work, and what do you think?
So these are coming from the CEOs and the top management,
Correct.
whose job is to bring more revenue and profit to their organizations. And one of the biggest challenges with the work structure, which I think in the past probably made sense, this employment model. I personally believe nobody should be employed for salary. I think everybody should work on contract for a deliverable and be allowed to work in multiple places. Then what happens is, every act that you do, you earn for that, and you put in time for it. What happens when you are employed is kind of buying your time, by showing you another cookie, saying that you will get sustainable income for a long period of time, you will get some perks, you will get some housing, you will get all of that, but you're definitely going to be underpaid. And having a fixed pay structure does not incentivize people to do more than that. And that frustrates the senior management, because they're like, how do we push them to get more value of work? Because if somebody is going 9 to 5, in that 9 to 5 they will take 3 coffee breaks, 2 toilet breaks. How much are you going to cross
And
monitor? Social media
Ah.
break, or falling ill, taking sick leaves, using all the what do you say, amenities that are provided to them. People tend to abuse them, because they say that mere ko to utna hi milna hai. I'm still going to get the same. Whether I do more, whether I do less, I'm going to still get to do the same. And that is a very dangerous setting for anybody working in a place. Like you were saying, if you own something, you will work on a Sunday.
Correct.
But what if it's not yours, and you are just being paid, a X amount of money per month? Then why do you care whether you do less or whether you do more? And I think that is not the right mindset for someone who's working. You have to work out of interest, and you have to naturally grow into it. And if you are just being given a fixed pay, I feel that is one of the reasons why companies lose a lot of money. Then they have to lay off X departments and X number of people to start making their companies look profitable, because a lot of money is just going to people who are incentivized not to work beyond what they are supposed to do. And I think that's why these senior management, CEOs and founders, the only way they can increase it by increasing the hours, right? They're not talking about increasing the efficacy or increasing the time efficiency of someone. They say that if you clock more hours, then how much they are losing in the other ways they are wasting, they will eventually add at least a little
I
bit
just
more.
want to come in here. See, it's a very valid point that you raised. Is that I was looking at some of the data across other countries to see what's the song that's being sung there. Is it the same? Is it different? Because it's all a global village. They found, interestingly, which I'm not surprised, is more number of work hours doesn't mean more productivity.
More productivity,
Okay, but they found that in Japan, for that X amount of time spent, it's the maximum productivity. And in the US and all of them, the productivity is very high. And it's the worst in countries like India.
Yeah.
Now you see on one side, these guys don't want to work more. and the time they're given to work, they do nothing about it, or their productivity is so low. So why do you think the productivity is so low in a country like India, which we profess that MCQs, these people are maxing and all of those things? What's going on here?
No, one is that they have already in their mind done all the work to now achieve earning, not working.
What?
Like
Repeat again?
like if
What?
you studied for 15 years,
Huh?
now you've got a job.
Huh?
Now people are like, mera hard work ka time khatam.
Huh?
Now I need to earn money, I need to travel, I need to build my family, I need to buy a house and all of that.
What are you saying? That means you say, today I'll take my neurosurgery degree, go to a hospital and say, now that I worked hard to get my degree, har mahina paisa dena.
Many people think like that
Yeah.
without
That
doing
means
much
no
work.
operation, nothing. I don't care. My patient dies, doesn't die. I don't
No,
come. I come.
They will not want to do too much work. I'll tell you, sir, I get so
Huh.
many of these DMs and
Hmm.
people saying that, sir, is neurosurgery bahut hectic? Will I have a work-life balance? And
Huh.
I'm like, see, look, every field comes with its own kind of an environment. If you're cut out for it, you take it.
Correct.
If you're someone who does not want to be laid back, then you take something non-clinical I won't take, because people don't like non-clinical. My senior has told there's no future in non-clinical.
Mm.
My other senior has told there's no future in paraclinical.
Mm.
So your expectation is of less clinical work, but you want to take neurosurgery because you think it's highest earning, or
Yeah.
radiology is highest earning. They're so conflicted in their
OCD.
thought process.
It's like an OCD, or
OCD.
a schizophrenic.
Yeah, but I think
sorry.
my statement was not for the healthcare professionals. I was saying, if you look at the IT sector, when you talk about this L&T chief and Narayan Murthy and all of these people who talk about excessive work, these people are the ones who have studied and now they just want the life that they see on social media. They want the big money, but they also want work-life balance. Now, work-life balance has become an important criteria for people of this generation, and now they believe they deserve that work-life balance, and they do not now want to work. And plus, their structure is such that they'll get paid whether or not they work
No,
enough.
it's this work-life balance. It's become the most abused word right now, but most trending word, fancy word, or whatever you say. I actually, before I go to that, I actually differ from you by saying that you should work less, or you don't agree and all of those things. Because honestly, Jaggi, see, when we get a degree, the IT guys would only do a BE. In
Yeah.
fact, I had a BE friend of mine who made a very interesting step. Sharan, you have to understand one thing. The difference between engineering and medicine is this. In engineering, the guys who are smart get a campus selection, go for a job. The guys who don't get campus selected go and do MTech because they don't have anything else to do. Step number one. Or they become a tutor in an engineering college. Secondly, after they do MTech, if they don't get a campus interview again, they become a teacher in a college. So they are like the leftovers. Unlike in medicine, the best guys do the masters and the super specialty and all of those things. You go in a different way. So it's a very different way that people are looking at this. They're only studying
Yeah.
4 years. So I think, Jaggi, personally, that first of all, you should go and dirty your hands and learn. No? If you're not learning anything, you don't have the skills. That's why Naramurthy also made the statement that 85% engineers passing out are unemployable because they don't have the skills that the market needs. Now, why? I mean, what do you think on that?
They don't have interest, sir. See,
You mean who doesn't? The teachers don't have interest?
No. The ones who are pursuing a career
Huh.
are not necessarily taking it because of their interest in it. Now, suppose if I'm interested in something,
Hmm.
I will learn it.
Correct.
Let us say if I, as a surgeon, if I want to pick up a new skill because I see that some of my patients develop certain complications because of an outdated surgical procedure, if I don't have that interest to
Correct. We go constantly and upgrade ourselves.
yeah, so if that upgradation has to be interest driven, like
And from person.
from the person. Like, so for example, if I want better results for myself and my patients, my learning should be driven by that interest. But nowadays, an additional fellowship is done for reason that will I get paid during the fellowship and will I get another job during that fellowship? It is not because of your outcomes or your results. Now majority of the people picking careers are picking careers based on hearsay, not based on what they're interested. And many times they will not accept that what they're interested in, because that may not fit with their parents or with their society's
With the peer,
understanding. Like I can tell you, there are I get about 150 messages per day on my Instagram from distressed students. And there are students who say, sir, I want to take microbiology. I love it. But so many people, every time I go and tell this, they're like, you will ruin your life if you take microbiology. Just get into radiology. Why don't you take something like that? Isme kharab hai, ye saturated hai.
What?
So then they are
Crazy.
so then they are like, why are so many people telling that maybe I am not thinking the right thing, though they may be interested, and then they will force themselves and try and take something which are not cut out for. Then at that point of time, why will they be interested to learn something? Why will they be interested to do something? They just feel like, I'm doing it because it's acceptable.
Is this like the FOMO that's going on?
It's FOMO I would say FOMO of, it's not exactly a FOMO, I would say, but it would be a fear of missing out on what people think or whether I'm acceptable in a society or my decisions, because you're judged all the time. People are being judged.
That's unfortunate, no?
It's that's the other person's insecurity that is judging.
Correct.
Because that person has also taken the decision by sacrificing what they wanted, and how is this person going to live what they like?
Correct.
Tu bhi yahi kar.
See, I think one of the messages I want to give our global audience is go with what you want to do, not what your neighbor wants to do or somebody else wants, your uncle wants to. Because I don't think every well-wisher has the same perspective and things like this. They come with their baggages, their limitations, their whatever. You listen to everybody. I'm not saying don't listen. Eventually, take an informed decision. Go back and see what you want to do, because if your profession and your passion merge, I think it's an unbeatable place to be in, and you can really enjoy what you do. There is no question
So,
about
sir,
that.
I think if somebody is interested and good at something, you can be successful in it.
At least in today's world.
Success is not defined on the field.
Correct.
Per se. Like, for example, if somebody gets into stand-up comedy saying that there's a lot of money in stand-up comedy, they're not going to do well if they don't have the interest in stand-up comedy or the aptitude.
They don't exactly.
Similarly, pick anything. If you are a writer and you say, oh, I have seen this author put for a nice topic and he is selling millions of copies.
All money only. Yeah.
मैं भी किताब लिखूंगा. But if you don't have the aptitude, don't have the interest, you don't
Absolutely.
have the skills for it, writing a book means nothing. Similarly,
Exactly.
getting a field means nothing if you don't have the ability.
Absolutely.
So that is the thing that they realize too late.
And it's like when you go and do shopping, you have a trial room. You try the cloth, you see if it suits you, and then it might have suited
Trial
somebody
room is
else.
called internship, sir.
Exactly.
But that internship, imagine instead of going into the trial room to try clothes, you are learning to stitch clothes by reading about it.
Correct. Why exactly? I mean, it sounds so simple, and then you're wondering why people are screwing up. Coming back to the work-life balance, forget about the work, Jaggi. Let's forget about life. Let's take life. Now, let us look at their life. Now, if they really are working only 40 hours, then they see WHO's definition of health is what? Health is a state of complete physical, mental, social, and spiritual well being, and not merely the absence of disease, deformity, or infirmity. So, absence of a problem doesn't make you healthy. It's a positive state of mind. Now, physically, they are sick. We are seeing younger heart attacks, younger diabetics, more and more obese people. This is an inactivity is becoming a big issue. If they had so much of free time, you and me, I think during our residencies, we were working 140-hour weeks, 100-hour weeks and all that. These guys are working 40 hours and our training is going on for 5 years, 8 years, 10 years. What is their excuse? I don't know. They're spending all the time on social media, number one. And I was just reading yesterday, Gen Z. No, the next is Gen Alpha, Beta, something else. Yesterday I saw somebody posting pregnant in Gen Beta, delivering Gen Alpha, it seems.
Oh, God.
So I'm trying to now have to go back and research what it is, this, that. People are getting stuck in on useless semantics. So what got you into innovation? Why did you get it as a doctor? See, doctors and technology are like literally poles apart, except that we have technology to use for us as like a microscope and things like that. But otherwise, what got you in?
Sir, for me, it was, I think, a fundamental thought process in my head, plus a mentor at the right point of time. I think it's a combination of these two. So, for me, when I was a postgraduate resident at St. John's Medical College, I had a difficulty in using the laryngeal mirror. Now, there are very few people who have the ability to tell I'm bad at something. Normally, people don't say I'm bad at something. So, that's why they blame it on other environment. The patient is kharab hai, or the instruments are bad and all of that. Honestly, for me, that is a skill that I just could not. And I used to have that FOMO that other people are able to see the findings. I am not able to see the findings. I used to be sent to camps. I'm putting in the mirror on a farmer who's left his day job. He could be having an early throat cancer. I am not able to see. Am I not holding it right? Am I not getting the right angle, or whatever it is was not working? So somewhere I felt for a de-skilled, unskilled person like me, there are cameras available in the hospital, but not given to us in the rural area. So I just questioned my boss, Dr. Ravi Nair, who's
course.
also your boss, or
Of
you
course,
know him
great
well.
friends. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's done the podcast with us.
Yes,
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
So I asked him, why can't we have camera system like that? And then he said, it's not practical. I can either improve and work on your skills. We can't have a 5 lakh rupee equipment in a rural area just because you are not skilled enough. But if you want, you can do something about it. And I just thought, instead of such a big TV, why don't I take a digital camera? I have an endoscope and connect it. It was just a very logical thing to do, but it was a personal, selfish reason that for me to match my skill gap, I wanted to use just a small coupling device. And the only thing that I did with his push.
So let's go to Gen Z. We are not obviously the Z as we are beyond the Z. I read that 91% of them are having mental health problems.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this?
Yes, sir.
What's
And that
your
is where I
take on
think the FOMO comes, sir.
Okay.
See, we have a very
FOMO. What is
fear
FOMO?
of missing out.
Oh,
So
first
there is
time,
a
initially
constant.
I was thinking, what is FOMO?
No, because I had a FOMO of not having FOMO. Why are all the other Gen Zs having this FOMO? I don't have FOMO. So I had a fearing of missing out, fear of missing out. So now I have the fear of missing out, and I've acquired the FOMO.
You're happy.
Acquired. Now people around me are like, why I don't have FOMO? They are having the
Jagdish has got FOMO. Now I'm getting worried why I don't have
called
FOMO.
FOMO square. But sir, the thing is, we have a comparative nature just as human beings, and with Indians it's a little bit more because it's ingrained. We compare, and now you have social media where you can actually compare with different people, and whether they're showing what is reality or AI or makeup or a lifestyle that somebody portrays, you can easily portray a different lifestyle on social media than what you actually.
And that is, I think, killing them.
have. So because of that comparison, there is a lot of FOMO of missing out on what they think they should be doing at that point of time with their career in that life.
Okay.
And at that point of time, they feel that because they're missing that out, they are not wanting to spend too much time doing things which they would call work. They're like, okay, I've already worked so hard for it. Now I'm working in X number of hours. I'm getting paid for it. Why should I do more? I should also be doing a lot of other things, but my organization is not allowing it. So I think it is a lot of that is playing. Now, if you rewind 20, 30 years back, I studied at a time when mobile phones were just coming out. I think for half my MBBS, I didn't even have a mobile phone. And we would not know what other people are doing, right? Where you compare yourself with. You would follow something which your local community or your parents will guide you, or your mentor or some teacher.
Or the national news
you will get
channel.
inspired and you will follow. So we would follow a particular track and go through with it without knowing what are we missing out on. Now we realize what we were probably miss out on. But today's generation gets to know what they're missing out on. And generally what is shown on social media is always exaggerated.
Correct.
By 20-30%.
I think it's all virtual world.
So the FOMO is also 20-30% exaggerated, and that cuts down into effort and efficacy.
But I am still pushing back at you for mental health. What is this mental
health? Yes, so the mental health is because of that. So see, now,
what is this mental health problem?
No, I'm not trying to, as a disclaimer, mock at mental health conditions. My father's a psychiatrist, wife is a psychiatrist. I grew up in a mental hospital there in Imhans. I totally understand the severity and seriousness of mental health.
Of course, both of us understand. I'm also a neuroscience
guy.
But
the thing is that there is FOMO on some mental health conditions also. Like earlier, people would not be comfortable saying they have a mental health disease.
Correct.
Now, one big leap.
If I refer to a psychiatrist, they get upset with you.
They will start giving us diagnosis of mental health conditions, saying that why are you sending us to a mental health professional? But today, because of one positive leap is that now talking about mental health has become a lot more acceptable.
Thanks to some of the celebrities.
Celebrities who are doing it, and the therapy trend, which is again used to be a more Western acceptable trend, has now come into India. And now people feel FOMO that, my friend has a therapist, I don't have a therapist. Meri therapy kyun nahi ho rahi? Huh? They go to therapists and they say also, no, my therapist told that I should do this. My therapist told I should do this. And they're like, mera therapist kyun nahi hai? So, and then, so they have FOMO.
Like a personal trainer, they're looking for a personal therapist.
No, I mean, it's just that I would say that, there are certain conditions, mental health conditions. It's a good thing that now people are willing to talk about and openly get treated for. But at the same time, because now they recognize certain mental health conditions, they also misinterpret it. Now, somebody who's felt sad for 2 days, say, I am a depression mein chala gaya. And depression is a very big clinical word where for at least 2 weeks in a row you have low mood, worthlessness, helplessness, all the entire clinical spectrum is there. But they would throw the word, depression. And so there is when there is mental health acceptability, there is also a lot of misinformation out
True,
there.
absolutely.
And that misinformation also feeds off on views and things like that. So people say, you can get out of depression by doing this, or your OCD will be cured like this, or people throw bipolar affective disorder also very easily now.
True.
One day if I'm happy, I'm bipolar.
Mm.
So because of all of that, I think there are a lot of mental health issues now just surfacing in terms of volumes, because people have more awareness, and also because of people have misinformation around it.
No, what you said is very true, because I want to add something here, and I want to tell our viewers. See, a lot of patients come to me also with headache, because I said, why are you getting headache or this pain? Sir, stress, sir. Stress. Stress is like, and you can see it on their face, and whatever the stress is. I asked them the question, who doesn't have stress? I said, do you see death every day? So, no, sir. I said, I see that. So I must be having more stress than you, no? So if you want to cross the road, there is stress. If you want to drive in Bangalore traffic, though, you are famous. You grew up in traffic. You keep
My
telling,
career
no?
is built out of stress in
Ah,
traffic.
yeah, it's
I can't stress on it any further.
and if you don't go in traffic, FOMO will happen. For you.
FOMO will happen.
Huh.
Yes.
And then you are in trouble. Then you go back to your dad. You don't know what is going on. So everybody has. So I tell them, listen, these are not stresses. Bangalore traffic is not a stress. Bangalore traffic is what it is.
Yeah.
Whatever is happening around you is what it is.
Yeah.
Then they said, what do you mean? I said, see, whatever is happening around you is happening whether you like it or not. Your response to that is what is the stress.
Yeah.
So now you decide. How? See, I want to give a classical example. Imagine, there's a mother and grandmother and a small child is walking, child falls down. Now, what next is the question. The mother quickly goes, looks at the ground, just make sure child is okay. No, Nala Murdo, something like this. And okay, and then child goes and plays. Grandmother says, oh, this happened. The more grandmother's volume will go up, more the baby's volume will go up.
Primary gain, secondary gain is happening.
Primary gain, second gain. So the decision of whether to put water on the fire or petrol on the fire determines the future of that fire.
Yeah.
So now I tell them, listen, if you are not able to manage the situation, either get out of the situation or go out, train yourself to manage the situation, get back into the situation, or take a better, easier job. Don't say, I want this salary, I want this, but I don't want the stress. It's not possible. The logic is very simple. So I tell them that, when you think the stress, and also I tell them, little bit of stress is always good for health. What do you mean, sir? The examination date is announced. The moment exam date is announced, stress starts, but that's when you're highly productive.
Yeah.
You're reading, you're putting timetable, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're cancelling all that, because you know that it's going to work at the end of. So little bit of stress is always good to keep you going.
Yes.
But if the stress starts impacting your function, that means impacting your diet, impacting your hunger, impacting your sleep, impacting your mood, then there is something that you have to address. That's when you have to go to a therapist and say, this is what my take is. What do you think on that?
No, sir, absolutely. And I think the openness towards therapy is now there. It's also becoming a socially acceptable trend also, and I think that is good.
Correct.
And also then I think in the next 10 years, mental health is a spectrum of area which is going to grow in terms of psychiatrists as well as psychologists.
Correct.
There is budget also now allocated by the government, and I think mental health is looked at seriously also from the corporates. Because if you have X number of employees and they're working 70 hours or 90 hours, but they're not in the right mental health, they're not going to be productive, and
Correct.
corporates also
Correct.
recognize that. So I think the point that you were saying is that people are not able to differentiate between what is acceptable stress, what is the amount of stress that is required for you to be productive,
Yeah.
and what is an abnormal stress
And
which is making you generally, I think in
Dysfunction.
psychiatry, you have BSO, biological, social, occupational
Correct.
disability. So
Correct.
if you're biologically impacted, socially impacted, and occupationally impacted, you can be diagnosed with a particular condition. And I think that will take another few years for people to realize that when they can actually throw off a term saying that I am depressed, and it's not one crying spell. They're able to realize that, oh, I have been at least 2 weeks to a month completely dysfunctional on all three fronts, and I need to seek care. And people around also should understand that this kind of clinical depression is not going to become all right by chal le movie dekhne jate hain, oh, it's okay, just take a break and you'll be fine. It's a neurotransmitter issue. Serotonin levels have come down, or some other issues are happening because of which they're having a lot of symptoms. So I think it will take a little bit of time for that to come, but this transition period is a bit scary because now people throw diagnosis and names and seek therapy for areas where they don't even really know whether they
Yeah.
are in that space or not. And I think that is why I think this is like a pseudo rise in mental health, but the actual mental health will
Actually,
will solidify over
I
a period
think
of
I'm
time.
glad you say it's a pseudo rise up, guys. The message that both of us are trying to give you guys is, we are not saying that your mental health doesn't exist. All we are saying is every mental up and down doesn't mean it's a pathological problem that you need to beat yourself down, break up, and say my life ho gaya and all of those things. That's not what it is. And please understand that you have to take care of your mental health first, like how they say in the flight, put the oxygen on yourself first before you help somebody else. But that's where my dad used to say as a child, when he used to tell, when I was bringing up my son, he said you should always play one sport. He was in sports, we
Yeah.
were in sports. I would ask him why. I said the biggest thing any game teaches you is how to be a good loser.
Yeah.
And I
And
think,
cope with it.
yes, and coping. That's what, how to be a
Yeah.
good loser. That's the coping with it. Because then you get the today he was so that tomorrow I'll come, you come, I'll beat you. So no, you're putting up a challenge. You're going and working out more. That's the way life has to be. You can't give one game you lose. You can't go and shut yourself down. That's not the way life works.
Absolutely.
I still remember when I was sort of in this transition of going into MBBS and all of those things. 1 year senior batch, I think there were I don't know which college. Two guys from the same college, always first, second, first, second, first, second. One guy got into 14 universities in US, one for the second rank fellow. The first rank fellow got into 13 universities.
Oh.
One less. He committed suicide because this second rank fellow got one. I mean, you would have gone to only one university. Yeah? What's going on with you guys? I mean, that's where I think you have to learn to become, firewall yourself, become mentally thick-skinned.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the other big, like how doctors, we were talking about communication skills. I think this skill, making them become good losers, how to face life. See, guys, life is not virtual, what you see on social media. On the ground is very different. And I think that's what they have to understand. And don't you agree with that?
So the process, like you said, to become thick-skinned, I think is every emotion also grows through from infantile immaturity to maturity. The
Correct.
more you face it.
Correct.
Now, one of the problems that happens in our Indian culture is that we inherently avoid failures and mistakes
Correct.
throughout our childhood.
If you fail, it's wrong.
It's
bad,
wrong.
You get
You
beaten up.
cannot. You are good for nothing. So what happens is when you avoid a coping mechanism towards failures and mistakes for till you are 18, 20 years of age, you have not dealt with it. The first time you are invariably going to deal with it, you will have an infantile response to it.
Correct.
You will have a very polarized response to it. You may have a destructive response to it because that response has never matured.
Correct.
Ask a child who's failed every unit test from third standard onwards, knows exactly how to deal with it because that coping has grown along with other emotions in the body, right? So just like you know how to deal with humor, you know how to deal with success, you know how to deal with sadness, you know how to deal with grief. Unfortunately, not many of us know how to deal with rejection, know how to deal with failure, know how to deal with things that don't go your way. Sometimes we're just not able to accept that, and your coping has not matured because it hasn't faced enough. And you cannot hit that first time that at 25 you face your first failure of not getting into a university.
Correct.
You cannot expect that your coping will be mature at the age of 25. It is what should have come at the age of 3.
Well, sir. So,
Yeah.
see, don't listen to this guy. Okay? He says, I failed in every unit test and this and that. He went to one of the best medical colleges. Okay? So, he's a dangerous guy.
Sir,
But
important to do well when it's important to do well. Unit test, it's okay not to do well. But that is the thing. Yeah.
That is the thing. It's important to do well when it is important to do well. And this is the advice he told me. He's telling his father when he was to pass the unit exam. Unit test is not important. I will tell you, that's why I love you, because I see so much of me in you. See, when I was in first PUC, 11th standard, we used to call first PUC.
Yeah.
That time, the first PUC marks was not counted for the second PUC for any of you. I don't think it's the same even now.
Mine was also first PUC.
Same. So I said, why study?
Why? Yeah.
So it's a waste of time, no? So as soon as I knew in the exam, I would get 60% first class. I would walk out of the examination hall and do other things.
Same thing I would do at 40 because 40 was passing. You took 20 buffer.
Well, that's what. So 3-hour exam, 1.5 hours I was out. And people would look at me, where this guy is going off. And because they knew I was a good
They
student.
used to have FOMO.
Oh, FOMO. I didn't care. And I had an English teacher who was also my mother's English teacher. And my mother was her favorite student. And she knew that. She would ask two answers from this, two questions from the same question, from the same, lesson, I would write one answer in detail, and other answer would say, refer to answer number so and so.
Same as above.
Huh. And she said, what is this? I said, you're not testing my intelligence. You want to test, you ask it. I will not write. Argument.
Yeah.
And then I loved maths and physics. So I would never look at that, write 7 out of 8 means I would not care. I would write very fast. I would answer all the questions.
Yeah.
So in second PUC preparatory exam, we went to collect the marks. That one teacher, he said, he kept on turning. He said, I had a problem in your answer. I said, what happened? So somehow the total is coming more than 100. I said, correct, sir. He said, why? I have answered all the questions. He got upset with me.
Oh.
I said, sir, you are the first teacher I am finding who's scolding a student for answering more answers than what is required. No, I wasted 20 minutes because he kept on giving marks. He came 110 out of 100. So he is now breaking his head. How did this guy get 110 or 100? So it's a strange situation. So I got exactly 360 on 600 in first PUC. And I didn't show my marks card to my mother. I just kept it off inside. I was studying. My mother is, would get very stressed because I used to behave like this. The typical type A personality, she would go into this whole process. And, that obviously, if you trouble her like this, you can't expect anything better. So one day she opened my drawer and saw my marks card. And she opened it. She had a fit of her life. She said, what is this? You got 360 out of 600. And then she said, you should study. And around the same time, the paper had written an article, how if you play music, Danish cows give more milk.
Oh.
Okay. So I told my mother, if you keep on eating my head like this, I'll stop studying PUC. I'll buy 4 Danish cows and start dairy farming. She went and told everybody, this guy is going to stop studying and start a dairy farm. What I'm saying is, coming back, so Jaggi and me are the guys who we work smart, we don't work hard, we are on top of our game, and it's important to be on top of the game.
Important to do well. When it is important to do well, the busier you are, more time you have, because you are doing other things when it's not important. Yeah.
That is the key, guys. The key is, God is very democratic. He has given all of us 24 hours in a day. How you use the time to do well is left to us.
Yeah. And there are 100 things to do. If you're going to put 100% of that life into just one thing, then you're also missing out on everything else around.
He has done his acting. He does his, stand-up comedy. I do my innovation. I do what I do. Both of us, I have seen that Rahul Dravid and BVS Lakshman's, that partnership at 481 runs, which they did against Australia at least 25 times. That means I have so much of time to watch the same highlights. Forget about other highlights. That GABA test in 2021, we won with the Rishabh Pant. I have watched it at least 50 times.
Lovely.
It is amazing what is possible. When India-Australia had a cricket match test match in Chinnaswamy Stadium in 2011 in Bangalore, I took off 5 days, Jaggi.
Oh.
5 days. I took off from my practice. I went and sat in the cricket. Everybody's calling, where are you, doc? I said, I'm in the cricket match. When can we see you after 5 days?
So I think the busier you are, the more time you have. I think I can add one more line. If you have control on your time. So like you have complete control on your time. I have complete control on my time. We don't have an L&T chief telling us that to work on Sunday or work on 70 hours. You are your own boss. Then you can decide. And I think that is where you will suddenly find that you don't need 70 hours. You can do the same amount of job even in 20 hours because you control your time.
And also learn to do it faster. And the way you do it faster is only with practice, guys. And then applying the principles. Because see, when you started doing the surgery early, in the initial stages, you take more time because then you start becoming more and more efficient. You know how to do it like that and things like that. I think that's the way it is. So coming back to life, guys, work-life balance. So life is now, these guys don't know what they want. They're looking at the FOMO. They're making a mess of their life. Start one by one sorting things out. Yeah. And then when you have to work hard when it's needed to be worked. That's what we are trying to say. Get what you want. Make sure you don't do FOMO on getting what your future likes because somebody else is slowing down in their life. Maybe he's a rich man's son. Maybe he has a lot of money in the bank. Maybe you are different. How do you know his future? How do you know what is correct? No, people don't even know where they're coming from. So don't make that mistake. And then it's a mess. So and one thing I support the L&T guys is, he has said that you work 90 hours for nation building. Mm-hmm. And people said, what nation building? I don't care about nation. I said, boss, if there's no nation, there's no you. So you have to look beyond you. If there's no family, there's no you. I said, forget nation. Build yourself first. Build it for the family, because in the family, for your children, you need to look like a hero. To your wife, you need to look at somebody who's productive, because they are comparing you to somebody else. And I think that's what do you think about that?
Absolutely, sir. But I think from a senior management, he has that vision. I think to get the employees to have that vision is something that maybe there should be some organizational structure changes. Like I know ESOPs are there, where employees are given stock options, where they also now own a pie of the company eventually, so that the company's growth, nation's growth, helps them, right? So I think a little bit more of those kind of I would say structural changes where people are meant to feel like they're part of the organization. Then I think this hour based clocking will go away, and everyone will just work towards a common goal of doing better.
I think well said. So to add to what you said, first of all, before I said that, I want to comment on the ESOPs, but you have to first prove your worth.
Yeah.
See, first you have to learn before you earn. So
Yeah.
somebody to give me an ESOP, I should prove my value. I'm not going to give it to anybody. That's the
That's true.
first thing. And having said that, I want to say on camera here, we run a company of neuroscience company. We have given ESOPs to some of our key employees.
We should,
So we are encouraging people to do that. So somebody who wants to look at it, prove yourself, and we are watching, because we are on this big journey together. I'm quite sure Jaggi is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So I think we are very excited about what is going on. So,
So
Jaggi,
ESOPs is employee stock
Huh,
options.
sorry. So, thanks for bringing
Yes.
it up. Shares in the company for people, who we feel needs to be in the company long term, feel a part of the ownership of the company, and then go well with that. You've seen that happening when Ola went public recently. Ola, no, went public recently, or Swiggy, or one of them went.
One of them.
One of them went public recently. 500 employees benefited, because all of them had got stock options. In fact, when Infosys went public, the Narayan Murthy's driver got benefit.
Yeah, everybody.
So it's like that. Please understand, it's not that you have to be an IT professional. Anybody who is a loyal person contributing to the wellness of the company will be recognized, because we are also human beings. We also want good people. It's not easy to find good people, guys. So that is the key that happened. And that definitely they have done all that work. They have made a lot of people. Reliance has made a lot of people rich. There's no debate on that fact. So let's look at some other things where we have common interests. Asterisks and obliques. So have you done any skit on asterisks obliques, or which character of asterisks? I love Asterix and Obelix. Is a comic from a Belgian guy. If you have not bought it, guys, you should buy it and read it. I have the full set in my house. It is so hilarious. It's unbelievable.
So I must say that this is I've been a lot on online, but this is one of the first times in a podcast I've been asked questions that I've never been asked before or answering before, such as this. Asterix and Obelix. So I'm not much of a novel reader. A lot of my friends used to read a lot of novels and books. My father is an avid reader. He used to get me Oliver Twist and David Copperfield and all of that, which I used to eventually make aeroplanes out of. But I think comic books attracted me, and I had a interest towards
No wonder
humor.
you're a comic now.
Towards humor, I'm a comic now, and I felt I'm a person with word plays. Even if you look at my stand-up comedy, I take a word and I play around it.
Correct.
And I think Asterix and Obelix, that is one thing that stands out,
I
is
agree.
the lovely word plays
I
that
agree.
the names are,
I agree.
vital statistics. You
Yes.
imagine the person is called Vital Statistics,
Yes.
and Vital Statistics also means your vitals
Correct.
statistics, those kind of things. And Get a Fix is someone who fixes.
Correct.
So there was a lot of wordplay that attracted me very early on with Asterix and Obelix, but my father's a government.
In fact, Vital Statistics' nephew's name is Just for Kicks.
Just for kicks. So see, there's a lot of nice wordplay and storyline.
Absolutely.
But my father's a government employee. He would not be able to afford Asterix and Obelix. Very expensive
I agree.
set of comics.
I got it on a sale somewhere.
No, I had to make a friend with someone I didn't like, so I
Okay.
could borrow their books and read the entire Asterix and
Okay.
Obelix, and then that kind of thing. But
The wordplay, I agree with
but
you.
so it has been a wordplay inspiration, and also I think the combination of someone clever and someone strong, and how they fight a system of the Roman Empire and make them look so silly. And I think that's what it is. Many of our bureaucratic rules are so silly that
I know.
just a couple of clever and strong guys can make a mockery out of it. And I think that is what attracted me to it. And I think that's where Asterix Obelix also plays a role in the wordplay aspect of what I do.
Brilliant, because the dog's name is Dogmatics.
Dogmatic.
Eh,
Cacophonics is caco means, bad
absolutely.
sounding. So,
And there was one fellow whose name was Humorous,
huh.
which is the hand bone.
Yeah.
And his wife's name is Cauliflower.
Yeah.
And they had two children. One was Radius and one was Alna.
Yeah.
The other two bones. It
Yeah.
is so amazing. And after every exam, I used to wind down by
And
reading
read.
this.
Yes.
And for me also, we used to work hard, we used to play hard. Very, very clear about that fact. That is something, like you said, we have to learn to understand when do we need these breaks, when do you need that. Don't expect so there may be days that you may work for 3 months continuously, 7 days a week. If this situation demands it, then take a break, guys. It's okay.
Yeah.
So don't say that it has to, eventually it'll average out the same way.
Absolutely.
But it's like that. So you have to do what you want to do, and I don't think it is wrong with that. But don't get into this, I have to only work Monday to Thursday.
Yeah.
It's not good, because if we start working like that and you come on a Friday, you're in trouble. Because none of us will be there to treat you, because we are also working with all of those things. And have you ever worked from home, Jaggi, doing surgery from home?
No, not surgery from home, but almost getting there. So one of the benefits of having control of your own time and also being able to invent, I now have developed a technology where I can look at people's ear, nose, throat by working at home.
Yeah.
And this is probably
Fantastic.
because of COVID.
Okay.
In COVID, when the lockdown happened, I think ENTs got hit directly because the symptoms were largely ENT,
yeah.
but we cannot treat patients on a video call.
Correct.
My physician friends were still able to do that because they would look at some reports
And they sit far away.
and people have access to pulse oximeters and
Correct.
BP apparatuses
Correct.
and glucose sticks.
Correct.
So they're still able to give medication advice. But for me as an ENT, if I don't look inside the ear, nose or throat remotely, I am not going to be able to guess and treat these patients. And I think every situation, if you have control of your time and you have the ability and you're working with the right people, we were able to develop a technology which is now patent granted by in India. Where
Which one? What's that?
it's called high technology, and I use it a lot in my practice. And I think there
what
are
does it do?
It's a small camera probe. It's
Okay.
a 10 centimeter long camera probe
Okay.
that wirelessly connects to your phone.
Okay.
So you so now
So where do you put that probe?
the probe can go in the ear,
Huh?
nose,
Oh.
oral cavity,
Oh.
and there are certain attachments where you can also pass it inside the vagina for cervical cancer screening. You
Very
can pass
nice.
it in the rectum for
Oh, it's
hemorrhoid screening.
multi-purpose now.
That's what we
Fantastic.
got the patent for.
Whoa.
For a single camera
Wow.
device that can be used to examine all body
So it becomes
orifices.
very affordable and very...
It's an affordable device. It comes in high resolution onto your phone, and once
Okay.
it's onto your phone, you can send it to someone like me or my
okay.
team of doctors. And now there are many clinics that have opened our tele-examination centers where
Okay.
we have trained them on this device.
Fantastic.
And they are general practitioners or MBBS doctors in
Okay.
rural areas.
Okay.
And they need to show some added advantage to get patients.
Correct.
And they also have to provide better care. Otherwise,
Correct.
why will a patient go to them? They would otherwise go to quacks,
Correct.
which will offer lesser amount of fee
True.
and scare them that aapko side effect honge.
Huh.
But so what is the thing that an MBBS doctor or GP can show to beat that competition is by using technology.
Okay.
And a visual aid is so well accepted nowadays that
Correct.
people have a smartphone. If somebody got a hole in the drum and you see the hole in the drum, the question of trust goes away.
Correct.
Right? Otherwise, they might be like, is he simply trying to get a
Correct,
surgery?
correct.
I'll go to somebody
and this
else.
is the part of what we practice is evidence-based medicine.
Evidence-based.
Yes.
What is there is there.
Yes.
So now if the MBBS doctor is able to take an image and he says, okay, I'm still not an expert, but I have a panel of experts and I will get you the
Correct.
diagnosis. Just like radiologists get
Correct.
diagnosis reports by
Very
teleradiology.
nice.
We give endoscopy reports.
Fantastic.
And with that endoscopy reports, we give suggestive care.
Oh.
And then the GP is able to provide that
fantastic.
care. And if they require surgery, we travel, put a camp, and we do the surgeries.
Wow.
So we're almost there to the point where we can operate remotely, though it was a jovial remark.
Correct.
But anything before that now can be done.
Wow. I mean, that is a great progress. Let me be honest about it. Fantastic.
So we
Hats
have
off to you.
patients
See?
in Middle East, Africa, and Europe.
Where in India? Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Atmanirbhar Dunya.
Dunya.
Because people in Europe, their healthcare system is such that if they have to see an ENT, they have to wait for 6 months. By that
6
time,
months?
6 months, 9 months can be their waiting time to
What?
see a specialist. They can see the GP quickly,
Mm.
but then when the GP refers
Correct.
to the
My sister took 3 months just to find an appointment with a neurosurgeon. I said, you got to come here and gone back.
come here, gone back, and a new disease also would have come. that much time is there, but the problem is patients have fear that is this time allowing this disease to progress into a
Correct,
stage where
of
it becomes
course.
irreversible
Correct.
or something. At that point in time, though I cannot prescribe any medication to patients abroad, but I can at least tell them what they have, what is the progression of their disease, and if it is something urgent, I can give
So,
them the option to fly to India and we
so
can
you're doing
operate them.
international stuff.
Yeah.
So the probe has to go there then,
Probe
huh?
has to go there. Now we have
How are you
probes
doing that?
available in 5 countries.
Oh, wow.
We have distributors who
Okay.
give the probes in 5 countries, and we give it to pediatricians and general practitioners who are the doctors who
Really
get this
interesting.
first point of care
Correct.
patients. Now, once the GP has the device, he can say that okay, your waiting time is 6 months with an ENT, but I have a team of doctors in India who, with this device, I will just send an image and they will give you some
They trust
guidance.
Indian doctors. A lot of people in the world trust
Yeah,
Indian
and
doctors.
once they have see, ENT is very mathematical, sir.
Correct,
I mean,
correct.
it's not like if I see a hole in the drum, 10 doctors are going to tell 10 different
Correct,
things.
correct,
Everybody's
correct,
going to say
correct, correct,
roughly the same thing.
correct.
And treatment approaches may change based on your skill and
True, true,
expertise.
true.
But for a patient to know what they have and what is a diagnosis and what is their course of illness, that is more than enough.
Very interesting. So how expensive is this probe?
This is about a $300 device.
Oh,
So, but
that's not
it's a
bad.
device that now runs for at least 2 years. So it's quite
Wow.
durable
Fantastic.
and
Great stuff, yeah. I mean,
so
I'm really impressed. I knew you had made something, but I didn't know it was so multi-purpose and you had really made it practical and, user friendly. And, I'm always talking about democratizing healthcare. Because healthcare should not be only the thing for the rich people and the poor person has to stand in queue and do that.
yes.
And I also use a very common phrase in innovation in India called gobi Manchurianizing the business. Why is that? See, if you think of a Chinese food in India, first thing dish comes to your mind is gobi Manchurian.
Yes, yes.
Honest truth is, in the original Chinese menu, gobi Manchurian doesn't exist.
I went to China, asked for gobi manchurian.
What happened?
They sent me out. They showed me a book of different images. They're like, which one you want?
Which one you want? Yeah, I can imagine that.
Uh,
Crazy, I can imagine. So what you're saying, you made a very important statement that people are waiting 3 months, 6 months to meet a specialist there.
yeah.
But they're all advanced countries, no? They should be, and here you can meet people overnight here.
Yes,
So
you can
what's
shop, sir. You can shop. You can look at reviews. You can look at
so
ratings.
why is that? Why is such a dichotomy that the advanced country should be giving better healthcare and more efficient healthcare than a country like India, which is chaos, has shortage of people, more people? Why is that happening?
So I think for emergencies they have a very good system, and I think they're largely government owned. Like Canada, the entire healthcare is by the government,
Correct.
and the
NHS
NHS also does that. But at the same time, they follow the human resource policies more strongly, which means that they cannot overwork and abuse doctors like we are in India.
Oh.
They have to be paid for everything. So that's why Indian doctors go there for locums. So even if you write an extra case report, you're paid an extra amount. If you do 1 hour more, you're paid extra per hour. I think it's anywhere between 20 to 30 pounds per hour is what a doctor gets paid for every extra hour that they do. So because of that, the NHS, in terms of specialists, they have a very fixed number. There are only 6 million or 7 million people in the country.
Correct.
So their doctors are not as high. Many people don't know. If we have 13 lakh doctors in India for 1.4 billion, the US also has 12 lakh doctors for 330 million. Similarly, in the UK, for 6 million, they have that set of number of doctors, but their doctors don't train at the speed that we do. So they have a very different structure where the patient has to either go to the emergency or has to go to their GP, and only if the GP is convinced that you want to go to a specialist will the GP refer, and that will go by that district or that county goes to that particular place. Because of that, there is so much of bureaucratic paperwork and timeline, which causes this particular problem. And what we are trying to solve was not really designing it for abroad. I think what we are trying to design is decentralized practice.
Correct.
Like people say, oh, I have competition. Where can I set up a clinic? I don't really today. I actually have to have a physical clinic to see 100 patients a day. Because now I have 1,500 of these devices floating around in the world. Out of this 1,500, I get 100 to 150 images every day anyway. So
And you charge for that, a small fee.
it's a subscription model. It's a subscription model for the
fantastic.
doctor. So for the doctor who's a GP, is not an ENT, so he may be able to do the endoscopy but does not know how to interpret many of the things. So take a small subscription retainer from them, and we are able to provide all of that. So with that, I think it's all about what you can think you can leverage technology for. There are ways to make excuses saying that I open a clinic here and nobody's coming to me, or you can figure out a way to see patients without a clinic. It's up to you, but you need to be able to have control of your time and
It's coming back to the same thing. See, guys, what he has done is worked smartly and solved a problem that was on the ground. The key is to solve problems on the ground
yeah.
and keep it efficient. And now he's released time, he's doing what he wants, but he's also seeing what he likes to see. So he's also keeping himself, what do you say, sharp mentally to do that.
A lot of misconceived perception is there amongst the younger medicos.
Correct.
The problem is they don't have access to people who are 8 to 10 years into the field to give them advice because they don't attend conferences. One of the things I keep advising youngsters is
Correct, they
attend
should.
conferences.
Yes, and talk to people like us.
That is the only place you are going to find, let's say, a speaker. You talk to them, network with them, go to the exhibition stall, see what
Correct.
technologies are there. Maybe
Correct.
something will help you.
True.
And you may also find fellowships, you may also find courses.
And some group of people are talking, go into that, listen to what they're saying.
Pre-workshops are there, all of these things
I
are
agree
there.
with you.
But whom they talk to is at the, that tea shop after their hostel where they're talking to their, second year PG or SR saying that who's frustrated about his experience.
Correct. And then
There's कोई career नहीं है, सब saturated है, you go abroad.
Go abroad.
Abroad.
वो तो पूरा अच्छा है.
बहुत लाखों करोड़ों में you will pay insurance, you will pay car insurance, life insurance, every mortgage you will pay, spend a lot of money.
Insurance.
Cheap things are only cheesy food, then you will develop cardiac problems and you will wait for 6 months for your doctor and you will come back to India for treatment. Basically, that is the cycle, right?
So that comes to, you're talking device, you're an ENT surgeon. You also said stand-up comedy. Forget about stand-up comedy. We'll come there later. So what got you into innovation? Why did you get it as a doctor? See, very doctors and technology are like literally poles apart, except that we have technology to use for us as like a microscope and things like that. But otherwise, what got you in?
Sir, for me, it was, I think, a fundamental thought process in my head, plus a mentor at the right point of time. I think it's a combination of these two. So, for me, when I was a postgraduate resident at St. John's Medical College, I had a difficulty in using the laryngeal mirror. Now, there are very few people who have the ability to tell I'm bad at something. Normally, people don't say I'm bad at something. So, that's why they blame it on other environment. The patient is kharab hai, or the instruments are bad and all of that. Honestly, for me, that is a skill that I just could not. And I used to have that FOMO that other people are able to see the findings. I am not able to see the findings. I used to be sent to camps. I am putting in the mirror on a farmer who's left his day job. He could be having an early throat cancer. I am not able to see. Am I not holding it right? Am I not getting the right angle or whatever it is was not working? So somewhere I felt for a de-skilled, unskilled person like me, there are cameras available in the hospital, but not given to us in the rural area. So I just questioned my boss, Dr. Ravi Nairu, who's also your boss, or you know him.
Great
well.
friends. Yeah, he's done the podcast with us.
Yes,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So I asked him, why can't we have camera system like that? And then he said, it's not practical. I can either improve and work on your skills. We can't have a 5 lakh rupee equipment in a rural area just because you are not skilled enough. But if you want, you can do something about it. And I just thought, instead of such a big TV, why don't I take a digital camera? I have an endoscope and connect it. It was just a very logical thing to do. But it was a personal, selfish reason that for me to match my skill gap, I wanted to use just a small coupling device. And the only thing that I did with his push was put in some money, and we didn't earn much. My stipend as a junior resident was 11,000 rupees. First year, 12,000. Second year, 13,000. Third year, after, whatever it was. And, but I had saved up some money. I borrowed some money from my parents, and roughly about 40,000-50,000 rupees, I was able to get a design team to marry the camera with the endoscope. And I could then actually remotely see the throat. And I think when you see the outcome of your tiny effort, you kind of build a responsibility on yourself that this should also benefit others.
Correct.
So what I did from my side was I donated 10 to 15 of these to St. John's Medical College. And
10 or 15 of them?
Of those prototypes. But Dr. Ravi Nair said that is just a prototype that you have given. They may or may not work. It's not an actual product. It has not gone through.
Correct.
And we don't know this process.
Correct.
And that is where he nudged me towards learning the process formally. And there was a government program. Fortunately, I was there at the right place at the right time. that there was a fellowship program where doctors did not know about this program because they don't think that way.
Correct.
And for me, fundamentally, my thought was a doctor's job is to do a good job in treating patients. And if I am not able to, many people would let it go. I felt like I need to bridge that because seeing the throat is a very fundamental thing. It's not a rare thing.
Correct.
It's something that as an ENT, I will need to do regularly for the rest of my life. And that used to scare me that if I'm not able to get the mirror skills and not able to afford this device, I need to have something that I can at least see patients in my wards and all of that. It started with that, and then with the push, it went to eventually being procured by a company called Medtronic, which is a very big company.
Really?
Yeah.
So I didn't know that.
So it was eventually licensed out to Medtronic and became one of the largest hearing screening programs called Shruti Eye Here, using that device.
Fantastic.
And Shruti Eye Here screened millions of patients using health workers with an advanced version of that device.
What's the device called?
That time it was called EntraView. And the program was called Shruti Eye Here. And because of the impact it created, I was recognized by MIT Technology Review as one of the 35 innovators under the age of 35.
Fantastic. MIT is Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, yeah.
Whoa. That's Stanford, huh? No, that's not. That's
MIT Harvard.
Okay, Harvard, sorry.
Yeah.
Harvard.
So that was the journey from my PG days. That was in 2009.
Okay.
Getting that award in 2016.
Wow.
But in 2014, it got licensed out to Medtronic.
Fantastic. And you also did the Stanford Bio Innovation.
That is a process that allowed me to understand how to actually get this device.
How to commercialize an idea into a commercial product.
Yeah. And I think the principle of biodesign is not only to look at the problem from a doctor's lens, but to look at it from how it will be used, how it will be stored, how it will be packaged and all of that. So up till 2014, this was a failed project. But when I went in 2012 and did the biodesign innovation program, I spent time in Stanford University as a postdoc fellow as well, and came back. I realized that I had designed this product completely wrong.
Oh.
Because if you think of it, it is very logical. But as a doctor, you're only thinking about your skills.
Correct.
So I was like, I made a camera with an endoscope for rural area. Rural area, you don't have endoscope experts. You have an MBBS doctor who's not trained in endoscopy. So how will they put an endoscope without causing any injury and safe? So the moment we changed it with the design team to make it safe for a 7 standard pass health worker to use, Medtronic got interested because now they're like, we can leverage health workers to do rural screening and funnel them into the hospitals for surgeries.
Interesting.
So the moment we met the need from all perspectives using the biodesign process, it got licensed out. Otherwise, it would have been another project that would have just remained like that. So
I think I should sit with you and understand more. In fact,
I've written a book, sir, on this.
Which is that book?
So I've written a book called Inventing Medical Devices, A Perspective from India.
Okay.
It is the only Indian medical devices book which gives you a hands-on guide for doctors step by step. There is a 40-page manual
copy with you,
that tells this is the first step, how to identify, how to file patent, how to get the product, how much money you need in each stage, how to get regulatory.
Get this copy from me. Just remind me, let me know how to get it from you.
It's available on Amazon, but I'll get you one.
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you. That book became the bestseller in medical technologies, medical devices when it released, and this was also a nudge given by Dr. Ravi Nair. And after that book got successful, he said not many people read books nowadays, and that's how the idea for the web series Starting Troubles came. Because the Starting Troubles is based on the book, and that came out. And once that came out, we made a version 2 of that Beja and Fry with you.
Correct, absolutely.
So to do that. So that's how this whole chain has.
But I'll come to Beja and Fry later. But that's actually how we met. If you remember, 2014, Dr. Ramesh.
In Excel you had come, yes. We did a course in St. John's.
St. John's, and I had built, like you, one prototype device and a couple of devices, and I don't know how he heard about that. And he decided to have a program with some doctors and some engineers together. And he called me and said, do you mind coming and judging that event?
Yes.
So I came in as an evaluator.
Right.
So not knowing what was going on. First day there was an orientation in St. John's. I was sitting there and they ran through the whole thing. Then I raised my hand and said, I have a request. I said, what? I said, I don't want to be a judge. I want to be a participant. I want to learn this. I don't think I qualified to be a judge. I think I would definitely learn. He said, you are not a doctor from St. John's, but eventually he gave me an exception that I paid a fee Then I got in, and then as a part of that, when we came in there, I met both of you at the same day.
Yes, yes.
But Ravi Nair, and then you, and
Yes,
then the rest is history.
Yes, yes.
At the end of the day, and I think this relationship only built
Yes,
over
yes.
time to with both of you, and it has been amazing what is possible. And so thanks for that. I should thank Ramesh, for and St. John's for getting us together. So coming to starting troubles. So you're starting troubles everywhere. Looks like
Yes.
you're lighting fires everywhere. What's going on with you? Is it in your kundali or what's going on?
No, so actually what happened with Starting Troubles is that the book was doing quite well. And there was a radiologist based in the US, Dr. Shweta Malik, who was moving from one side of filmmaking to another sort of filmmaking. So radiology filmmaking to actual movie filmmaking.
Oh,
She was transitioning, and she had a project to make a movie at the end of her course.
okay.
And she wanted to do it off the book. She said, I read the book. It'll be an interesting story to put out as a movie. She came out with a movie idea. And when she approached us, then we got in touch with Abhinav Kamal from 10 Motion Arts, who said that movies are very hard to make. It requires a lot of money to distribute it. Web series are picking up. So why don't we make a web series? And our budget was very low. In fact, we didn't have any budget. We had about 5 or 6 doctors who pulled in their own money to give a small corpus with which we made, written that book again as in a script format, not thinking that it would do well. And I would think that it is for what we were able to pull off in terms of actors like Renuka Shane and Parikshit Chani and Kurush Debu from Munna Bhai MBBS. The director thought these kind of people will never associate with us. We are not Bollywood people. We are not known actors, not known people for these people to associate with. The one thing that they all liked was the script. And what they liked in the script was zero dumbification of medical terminologies. So it was written like a ward scene was written as a ward scene. And I had written one scene where Dr. Ravi Nair's role is played by Renuka Shane there, where I once got royally scolded for neck dissections. And I wrote that scene as is. I was like, these are the levels of neck dissection. That's how a professor will talk and run you down with medical knowledge.
Correct. Otherwise, it's all dumbed
And
down so badly.
Abhinav was like, sir, ye nahi chalega. This is Bollywood actors will not be able to speak this kind of things. You have to make it simple. You have to make it 2 words. Just say gale ka problem. I'm like, no, that is not how it works. If you're making it, it has to be accurate. And the script was written with pure accurate medical lingo. And Renuka Shane came and delivered that entire scene in one take. And that is the video that has got the most number of views ever. I think on Facebook it has close to 20 million views.
Whoa, 20 million?
And it has been most widely circulated video across the world.
Oh.
In fact, the country
Amazing.
which it is most popular, the series is Nigeria. I had no clue. And
why?
Suddenly on Twitter, I started having a lot of following from Nigeria and Kenya. And the people are writing, how does Bollywood know what we face in our daily life? I'm like, we are doctors. We also face the same thing, this problem. They shout at us in front of other people. So I was like, oh, this is going well. And then there are certain big American influencers on Twitter who just one day put a posting, this is my best medical scene ever. After watching stuff like Grey's Anatomy and Scrubs, if they put this one tiny scene from Starting Trouble saying the scene that I love the most ever, so that kind of stuff. So that scene has got popular. I'm sure every doctor has seen Renuka Shane scolding me in a ward round scene. Every 2 years it keeps doing the round.
Correct.
We haven't had any budget to fund the next season. So if any of you are interested, please continue the troubles because earlier when we started was just pre-COVID, the shoot, the budgets were possible by 4-5 doctors. Now web series market has grown so much and the actors cost has gone so much that the same budget we cannot even make half an episode.
Really?
In what we made the entire series on.
Wow. So I'll tell you how I got into this web series business with Jaggi. So one of my friends, we are having a big frustration in getting the neuroscience knowledge out into the market. People have no idea about the brain. They don't care. We are frustrated. And when they don't know about acute care like a stroke or a head injury, where rehabilitation is far away, somewhere down the road, it was a struggle. So somebody said, sir, why don't you start making a play?
Yeah. You come for play.
Yeah. So they said a play. And at the moment they said play, I remember the street corner plays for epilepsy and alcohol and all they used to say. So I said, for want of a better thing, it sounded like a plan. And then I called Dr. Ravi Nair. And I said, Ravi, what do you think? And you may even ask why Ravi Nair, he's an ENT surgeon, what has he got to do with the play? He was like he was like us offbeat, he will always think differently. I said, for want of, I didn't know whom else to reach out to. So I thought, every time I have this, and he definitely says things that, make sense. So I called him. He said, Sharan, you should talk to Jaggi. He does plays. I didn't even know you act. I knew you are a bio design guy and all of those. I didn't even know all this process is going on. And he just said actually to talk to you about play. And when I called you and you said you did starting troubles and all of those things that actually got us interested. And then the rest is history. We thought we had a story to tell.
Absolutely.
And tell us your view on Beja Unfry is, a 6-episode web series which is on the PRS Neurosciences channel. I recommend all of you to go and find it and watch it. It's fantastic. It's on our lives, but also on our patient's life. And we'll ask Jaggi what is his experience in doing that.
No,
He played the real life Dr. Sharan. It wasn't played by me.
And there's a very viral scene from that also, where you're in a traffic and
Correct.
a person in the bike without the helmet says, you mind your own business.
Correct.
Then you say, you are my business.
You don't say you say, as I say.
I say it as you, but say that you are my business as a
Correct.
neurosurgeon. I think if you've seen Starting Troubles and you think that is medically heavy, which is just probably 20% medical knowledge is there in the entire thing, I think Beja Unfry is as medical as it can get. Without actually technically dulling. I remember the first opening scene itself. We had Rakesh Bedi and Mickey Makhija and
Sudha
yes,
Rani.
So Sudha Rani and all of these veteran actors.
Correct.
Struggling to even pronounce
I know those words.
the nuclei, ganglions, and all of that. I was only doing neck dissection. This is hardcore neurosurgery and neuroscience, and that's the opening scene.
Correct.
Where there is a conversation.
That is in the OT also.
In the OT opening scene, conversation happening about this particular area in the brain versus that, and tremors and all of
Parkinson's and everything.
Yeah. So I think the technical level that Beja Unfry has, I think, is probably the most technically heavy content out there in the whole world.
Really?
Yeah.
You think that?
Because it's not even if you look at Grey's Anatomy and Scrubs or The Good Doctor. They balance, conventional Hollywood style with about 20-30% of technical knowledge. Even House MD, 30-40%, I would say. But this whole web series is line to line, technical completely from start to end. Which I think, there was pushback from the creative team also to make it a little bit more friendly. But I think... at the same time, you have to be honest with what actually is there, and this information is not there anywhere. And I think a lot of people came to know about these tremors and these alternate options,
the guitar surgery
for surgery for it, and how important a rehab role plays in recovery over the 6 episodes. There's one thing which I had requested Sir was to add comedy, but he felt that, the seriousness of the topic will go away if we don't add comedy. So it does not have much humor into it, though we have put some elements into it. But I would say that is have been one of the most challenging things that me and the entire crew had done in terms of the scripting, content, and execution. So it's definitely worth a watch that everyone should go through. In
fact, that picture of yours is from there.
From there,
the real Dr. Sharan doing the guitar surgery, and this is the real Dr. Sharan doing the guitar
actual surgery.
And this is the third guy. That's the guy from California who came all the way from California for this is done recently.
Lovely.
So it is fantastic. So that then you understand how that went. And I think that really helped us to get a little bit of handle on what was.
So a lot of medicos watched it and understood about this as an option, and I think a lot of people probably may have also reached out for care in this space.
Yes. So I think but we need to go more viral, and I hope that through this.
Definitely we should watch it, and I think if genuine true content is encouraged, then people will make more of genuine true content. Otherwise, you're going to have the same kind of movies that are out there, which are just largely masala and entertainment. But I think
you have this famous dialogue. What Mickey Makhija used to say, ये ब्रेन का सदमा हो गया,
हाँ,
ये
हाँ।
बेहोश है,
ये पेशेंट के बच नहीं पाएगा,
या बचने
माँ
पर
को बचा लो या बच्चे को बचा लो.
all those
Yeah,
standard
yeah.
dialogues that beyond that, it doesn't go, no details at all. He was really, telling us all of those things.
And having actual genuine content will also let patients know that this is the level of knowledge and thought process that is taken in care. Otherwise, if somebody is talking very general, they also underestimate the doctor's effort, and that's all contributes to
Yes,
violence and
yeah,
misunderstandings
absolutely.
and all
That's
of
actually
that.
one of the things I was telling you, because I wanted to give an exactly the way I wanted to be shown complexly, because they should understand
Sure.
what we go
There
through.
is a lot of years of knowledge and hard work
Yes.
that goes into this, and it should be shown like
Yes,
that. And
yes.
as doctors, this is how our conversations
Yes,
are.
yes.
It is what it is. It's not like
If people want me to sing around the table, dance
हाँ.
around the OT table, that's not going to happen.
हाँ,
That's definitely
ये
not
मेरा
on
brain, ये तेरा brain. That kind of scene
Correct.
about it. So
And then the heroine has to come and say something.
हाँ,
What will
hero.
she say?
मेरा दिमाग तुम्हारे पास है. Or somebody will throw one cardboard brain and it'll go inside.
Correct.
There's an actual movie where somebody throws a cardboard heart and it falls into a patient's chest
Yeah?
and his heart starts beating.
Really?
I'm not even joking.
Oh shit. Anyway, since you made that statement, recently there was an article going around where in Kolhapur, one guy was declared dead,
Yeah.
and they were taking him in an ambulance to the crematorium to cremate him. And the ambulance hit a speed bump.
Yeah.
And because of the jerk, the fellow started moving his finger. And there's somebody in the ambulance, oh, he's my grandfather's moving his finger. They took him back to one hospital, took him second hospital. That fellow is back home now.
I remember
Can you
that.
imagine?
I remember that. So actually, these potholes people underestimate. People think that these are by error. They are actually medically designed
Medical
potholes
design,
that
to give
can
CPR.
provide CPR at every hump. Especially for ambulances, and ambulance drivers are trained to go on them so that the CPR can be given. मान लो कोई paramedic नहीं हो. What do they do?
Correct.
So this is actually a very creative automated CPR process
Wow.
on the road.
So the BBMP and all are having experts in the
They
creating
advise on how depth
Amazing.
of the pothole,
Pothole
so that
SP.
gives that one pulse pressure,
Correct.
and that
Amazing.
one pothole cannot give the thing. 10, 15
10,
potholes have
15.
to for the the CPR to happen.
We have to appreciate that. If everybody is giving gali for pothole, road is not maintained. They should know that it's a
There is
scientific
positive
purpose.
in everything. So,
I agree.
And I think this is a true life example of how a pothole can save lives.
Yeah.
So
we are
there should be a campaign to
breaker.
preserve
I think,
potholes,
and speed breakers.
protest to stop against covering up of these.
Correct. No tarring.
Potholes.
No white topping.
No white topping.
No,
No,
no.
topless.
Topless.
So
So did you see your wife's face today?
she was staring at me, so I had
Why?
to escape from it because I was working on Sunday today, sir.
Oh.
I have come for your podcast.
Dangerous. Then she's going to have a gun in her hand when you go back.
She will. Just, eyes are enough to stare.
Eyes are, huh?
Yeah. So
If looks could kill type, sir.
Yeah, it will. So I'm going to get stared at for the next.
So even I think Anand Mahindra also said the same thing today. I love looking at my wife's face.
Yes.
So I think you are in Anand Mahindra's this one now.
That's sir.
You're in big company right now.
Better safe than Thari.
That's a nice one. Very interesting. Shift tracks to quacks. The first time I heard the word quack was in Donald Duck.
Yes. Sir.
There was a joke we used to always say in our medical school. Donald Duck tried to dash, quack, quack and all of those things. But the reality is, what are these quacks when there's so many people wanting to be doctors in India?
Yeah.
We don't have the seats. And we have so many quacks going on in India. Why is all this chaos going on here? Yeah.
So, sir, I think.
And on the other side, the government wants to make the quacks doctors, and there's a pushback and all of those things.
So I think there is a lot of misunderstanding around the healthcare space from the patients and doctors' volume perspective. A lot of doctors would very strongly argue that many fields, or if not all, are already saturated. There is actually no space for another doctor. I, on social media, have been very vocal saying that the field is not saturated, boss. Jobs may be saturated because of the job saturation is because of a totally different reason, nothing to do with the healthcare. Jobs are because of the entities, the organizations. Now we have about 70,000 hospitals for 1.4 billion people. At what rate will the hospitals grow versus the rate at which the skilled population will grow?
Correct.
Will obviously be a huge mismatch.
Correct.
So there is going to be a shortage of jobs in any field.
Correct.
So I openly accept and agree that there are job saturations in every healthcare field and non-healthcare fields also. But calling an entire field saturated basically means that there is no patient for that doctor left to see. And that I don't think that can be true for 1.4 billion people.
Correct.
Like if you're saying that ENT as a field is saturated, if I open a clinic, I should have 0 patients who say, oh, ENT, हमें तो कभी होता ही नहीं है. बहुत पहले होता था हमारे बाबा दादा को. That is saturated, right? Everybody has allergies, sneezing, cough, and they require. Now, what these quacks do is they realize that. They realize that there are a shortage of doctors in rural areas, in semi-urban areas, in these pockets, and they cannot sell their services on qualifications because they don't have it. They can't sell it on skills because they don't have it. So they do something which is popularly known as negative marketing, which is tell what allopathy doctors' pitfalls are. Like you go there, you'll have a side effect. If you go there, then you will get stuck and pulled into their system. They will remove your kidneys and they will sell it, or you will get all kinds of problems. And plus, they are very expensive. You will get bankrupt. 50 rupees to 100 rupees. I will treat you. I have worked under a doctor. I have gotten all the skills. I will give you the same kind of care. And trust me, this is told to me by a quack whom I actually confronted because I was conducting a camp in a rural village in Uttar Pradesh, and this quack is the one who
the Himalayan medicine fellow, they put up the tents everywhere.
No. This was he's not calling himself non-allopathic.
Oh,
he calls himself as a practitioner of allopathy without a degree.
He's open about it.
He's open about it, and people know about it also. That is one of the biggest things. People, like I have medical students say that nobody values an MBBS degree, but patients don't even want to ask whether you have an MBBS degree or not. They just want to be cured.
And obviously he must be producing results for people to go back to him.
He has actually worked with a doctor. He's learned some basic things. Basically, gives steroids for most of the conditions, which kind of nullifies the symptoms, for that period of time. And patient feels immediate relief and say, yes, sahi hai. And that guy actually helped us execute the camp because he had access to every house, every household, every patient, and all of that. Got the patients for the camp also. Amazing. And he was telling that this is how they capitalize because there is no saturation in field. They capitalize that they know there is a very high volume of patients who require care, but they don't get the right doctors. And these people opportunistically kind of bad mouth against, qualified doctors to get that. And people will be like, okay, if I'm paying 50 rupees or 100 rupees, even if it doesn't work, it's a chance. It may work. Let me try. I will go when I really need it. And when you really need it, it will be so late, then that doctor will really need to be treated. It will reach that kind of a stage, right? Because then at that point of time, you come with a lot of complexities, a lot of, manipulated history and, difficult.
Abuse.
Rather than seeing at a first time, 5-6 courses of azithromycin, though it is given like that when you don't have change, they give you chikki, So you don't have change, azithral le lo bhaiya, 5 din. It's become like that, and then the resistance towards antibiotics, and then when you come to the hospital, nothing is working, and they say hospital खराब है, doctor खराब है, मारो इनको, इसको बंद करो नहीं तो किसी और को मारेंगे. That is a lot of this ingrained thing. So now what is happening, sir, is that from the medical community there is this misinformation that we have no scope, no future to practice because there are no patients in certain fields.
Correct.
That's why many seats go empty. Many people don't want to take anatomy, biochem, physio. They don't take only. I will take only derma. I will take only pedia. I will take only this. They have got everything has become like categorization. And then there is that allows.
Derma also has gone back now because of cosmetology.
And now these people, what they are doing is they are the ones who are able to access the patients, and then they are not treating correctly. They're mistreating. That has led to a very hosh-posh, healthcare ecosystem. And I think if we are, and if I ever tell, doctors that you should explore these semi-urban rural areas, they're like, we don't have a quality of life there. Why should we leave? Right. Everybody wants to be in the city. Now, for example, I am able to see people from rural areas without even leaving my house. There are ways that you can figure out where you can access those patients, maybe even if you do a monthly camp. Don't go and live there and relocate there. Let's say you do a weekly camp in a different rural area where you go as an expert and you see patients.
True.
Then you start going to get those patients and bring
Correct.
their care.
Correct.
So there are 10 ways to do things and there are 100 ways to avoid doing things. But like I said to my point, sir, somebody has to be interested. If you don't have the core interest to grow, you are not going to find ways to do it.
So what you're trying to say very simply is don't do ambassador car business.
Huh.
Don't do Nokia 1100 business. Don't do that rotating phone business. Upgrade your skills and do what currently is required. And everybody knows so much of technology is available.
And figure out ways. There is,
Yes.
I mean, if you put your mind to it, you'll always find 5-10 ways to do it. They will all come at different costs in this thing, which are all very feasible nowadays. So many students sometimes argue back, sir, you say set up a clinic. Where is the money I'm going to come? I'm like, you don't have to set up a 5-star
Exactly.
hospital in your first go. No, you have to have a small place. There are so many, these departmental stores. Now, a departmental store has maybe 200, 250 square feet space. Do you think that guy's a multimillionaire?
Exactly.
No, if you take that same 250 square feet and put a chair, table, and your steth with one light and a small this thing, how much is it going to cost you? I'm not talking out of entitlement. It is coming up to only 40,000-50,000 rupees with
Correct.
1 or 2 lakh deposit. Even if you don't have that, then you can get a lot of loans. There are mudra loans run by the
Correct.
government.
Correct.
There are at least 5 loans by the government which are collateral free to set up, to procure equipment. There's a CGSTME. There are so many schemes which you just Google online, and there are doctor loans that are given away. These are micro loans. You're not taking crores.
Correct.
You're taking 5 lakh, 10 lakh to kickstart, and then it's up to you. If you're good, your healthcare is good, your communication is good, patients' results are good, you will obviously do well. But if you're not good, be okay to say that you're not good, acknowledge it, and change your course in career.
Yeah, do something
Rather than saying that the whole field is saturated, there is competition. There's one medical, doctor came and said to me that, sir, what do you do about competition? I'm like, have you ever been to a mall? How many clothing stores are there next to each other? They're sharing a wall.
Hotels.
Hotels.
Oh, there's a jewelry
Next to
store
each
next
other.
to each other.
Yeah, if you want to buy helmet, you go to JC Road.
Correct.
If you want to buy to this, you go there.
Correct.
There is a place where everybody is doing that. If you visit Mangalore, you will find towers of buildings with 500 doctors with each chamber, all doing independent private practice. Competition is not the way that you assume that nobody should be there in your area.
True.
There is a lot of spillover that happens. If you look at every medical college, at a department, there are 5 doctors from that same department seeing patients. When I was in ENT, there is the SR, there is the assistant professor, associate professor, 3 professors, all doing OPD together.
Correct.
Competition?
Correct.
There is no competition.
Exactly.
That competition does not work
Exactly.
that way. It is that if there is a place for healthcare, it will drive larger number of people and it will get scattered to everyone. Nobody wants to wait for 2-3 hours, and people want options. You have to be.
But if you don't serve them well, they'll go to somebody else. If they like you, they'll come back
At
to
the
you.
bottom line, just nobody's going to pay you for your degree.
Correct.
They'll be
Absolutely.
like, oh, I didn't become all right. Oh, but you have degree from this college, yellow paisa. They don't do that, right? They are doing it for their recovery,
Exactly.
right? So if you are good, I have not seen anybody who is good not do well in
I
life.
agree. In anything.
In anything, yeah.
I agree. Totally.
Now-
But you have to produce results, yeah.
You have
See,
to
I
produce.
always say it can't be operation successful, patient died.
Yeah.
It can't be like that. You have to be very clear that you have to be outcome focused. You have to be clear what's happening, communicate effectively with them.
Absolutely.
And you are absolutely bang on. There's in Bangalore, the Apollo and the Fortis share the same compound wall.
I worked in both. I did my fellowship in Apollo, moved to Fortis. That time the CEO of Fortis then moved back to become CEO of Apollo. He knows the secrets of Fortis. Both of them are doing very well. They follow the same parking lot. I have parking
Yeah.
stickers for both.
Huh.
If I don't get parking in Fortis, I park in Apollo. If I don't get parking here, I just walk across. So this lot of misconceived perception is there amongst the younger medicos.
Correct.
The problem is they don't have access to people who are 8 to 10 years into the field to give them advice because they don't attend conferences. One of the things I keep advising youngsters is
Correct, they
attend
should.
conferences.
Yes, and talk to people like us.
That is the only place you are going to find, let's say, a speaker. You talk to them, network with them, go to the exhibition stall, see what
Correct.
technologies are there. Maybe something will help you.
True.
And you may also find fellowships. You may also find courses.
And some group of people are talking, go into that, listen to what they're saying.
Pre-workshops are there. All of these things
I
are
agree
there.
with you.
But whom they talk to is at the, that tea shop after their hostel where they're talking to their, second year PG or SR saying that who's frustrated about his experience.
Correct. And then
There's कोई career नहीं है, सब saturated है. You go abroad.
go abroad.
Abroad.
वो पूरा अच्छा है.
बहुत लाखों करोड़ों में, you will pay insurance,
Mm.
you will pay car insurance, life insurance, every mortgage you will pay, spend a lot of
Malpractice
money.
insurance.
Cheap things are only cheesy food. Then you will develop cardiac problems, and you will wait for 6 months for your doctor, and you will come back to India for treatment. Basically, that is the cycle,
And
right?
the appointment you'll not get there. Yes.
Yeah.
So why do you say Indian doctors still go abroad then?
Sir, most Indian doctors now are coming back.
Really?
Who started Cloud9?
Who started Cloud9?
So Dr. Kishore, who started Cloud9,
Correct.
yeah, so he came back from the US after that. Most people now who are coming back and setting up all of these chains. If you take Aster, if you take
Reverse brain drain.
Cloud9, you take Motherhood Hospitals, you take all of these are people who are coming back from abroad after spending 10, 15, 20 years over there, not finding tremendous growth. Economies are being saturated. NHS is in a crumble.
NHS is in a mess.
People are coming back, and they're coming back and they're setting up their own and going down that route. It is only this pool which is very confused in between, right after getting a PG seat or not getting a PG seat, and hearing to a lot of people are very influenced by this. And there are some who very aggressively push back also. Like in one of my videos on my social media, I just said that going abroad to US is not all rosy. I mean, it's not heavenly land. It comes with its own problems. We have a different set of problems, and students are arguing back that we go there for safety. I'm like, you can get shot anytime. Then they'll be like, it's better than being better to be shot than that kind of statements that they would make. But they don't understand that the most of the doctor violence and issues that happen in India are largely in larger organizational setups which are government run.
Correct.
Right, but they would rather
or in rural maybe.
They would rather uproot their entire self than try and set up something on their own. Because if you set up something on your own, tell me where is the toxicity when you are running things?
Correct.
When you are running things with just a team of 3 or 4 people, where is the toxicity? Where is the security issue? Where is the safety? When you're working in a small scale, you control everything.
Absolutely.
Right. So, but then you're going abroad where there's also doctor violence. Emergency medicine doctors, there is a statistical report that says the largest number of violence that has happened there. Plus, you can be unsafe outside. Like, I'll give you an example. On the expense, I went for the postdoc fellowship in Stanford, and it's in Palo Alto. And the rent around Stanford University for a house this big, studio, which has a toilet, $1,200 in 2011.
Whoa.
So we used our Indian Dimag. We went to Craigslist and we saw, in Palo Alto on the other side, it is for $450. We're like, all of us went and uprooted ourselves there, heard 4 gunshots and came back. And our faculty freaked out. They're like, don't ever go to East Palo Alto. No, it's not worth your life. Don't do that. We are paying you enough to stay here. I'm like, but sir, we want to save and go home and splurge there. Now saving is whatever you're earning. You use it here. Get a car, get this house over here, take the bus that comes from Stanford. Don't go to East Palo Alto. You're going to come back in an ambulance. That's what they were saying. And then we realized that, you have to pay for a better quality of life there. You can also eat one slice of cheese pizza for $5, but then the salad is $40, So you choose high triglycerides or you choose healthy life, you have to pay for it. And then the insurance, I think, sir, it's one of the biggest, things that pull over there. One is you pay a very hefty premium that takes away most of your earnings. And then there is something that they call copay. I'm like, what is copay? Copay is that you pay insurance also and you pay for the service also. I'm like, why am I paying insurance? So now, for certain things, you have to copay, like it's an outpatient procedure. And that copay is like half my pay. So it's, and then
you should just, we have phone pay. You should have said
we have no pay.
No.
We go pay through GPay, That's how it is. And even in India, if you look at private insurance,
same scam is coming here.
I paid a hefty premium in one of the insurance companies, and then I had both my children in a corporate hospital, only to realize at the time of delivery that there was a clause saying that maternity is covered only after 3 years of giving premium. And it was written somewhere in a 400-page booklet.
They should have told you, don't get married.
And if you don't get married, then you get extra premium. You have to pay higher premium for it. So I'm saying that, this is a problem in the US. I think we heard the CEO of one of the United Insurances
Yeah, that's
was shot dead.
trending last week.
Because the insurance companies, first of all, take a large amount of premium, but they also ensure to how much ever it is capable to not give you
they
the
keep
benefits.
on searching for things not to give.
There are
Absolutely.
documentaries on that also.
Absolutely.
So
the guy who shot him was a guy who had a spinal surgery, it seems, and he didn't get this one, and he went, and the entire social media supporting that guy because everybody is frustrated with these guys because they have to be fair. Yeah, there's no smoke without fire, is what we say at the end of the day.
So the comparison I think that students make is not fair. Like what they'll do is they look at the crime rate. Like one student in my comment has written, "Sir, do you know this is the crime rate in US? It is 10% or 20% lesser than the crime rate in India." I'm like, that population is 330 million. That statistics has come from that 330 million. We are coming from 1.4 billion. I'm not saying we are a safe country, you should be here, but there are safer and effective ways to live in our country and contribute to the country.
Correct.
Rather than going to a place on a pretext that you think it is nice and rosy when it's actually not.
It's not.
So you need to understand both pitfalls. I'm not saying that it's not good to go to the US, but go for the right reasons. They obviously have better training protocols, but they don't have enough hands-on exposure.
True, absolutely.
We are the ones that are blessed with unlimited hands-on exposure.
Absolutely.
When I first went to the US and I met an ENT doctor over there, and they see 10 patients a week or 20 patients a week, I'm like, I see that for breakfast. That is the amount of time. I just have my breakfast before my coffee break. I've seen 50 patients, 30 patients. That's how you go to St. John's OPD, you'll see how the kind of patient that you will get to see. And we get that many number of surgical volumes and hands-on. So you have to go for the right reasons. If you're planning to settle there, if you're planning to build your career over there, you're planning to relocate. But if you're just planning to get away from here, learn, and then come back and do all of that because somebody told that you earn $300,000 a month, a year, out of that $300,000 a year, trust me, you're going to save lesser than what you would save in this country, looking at the lifestyle there.
Correct. Absolutely. I think so. I agree with you completely because we have so many people we have seen known to us. And they are struggling. I mean, struggling means, not
they do
financially.
Other jobs. They run cabs. They run other things. They work in dailies.
Younger people are not easy at all. Absolutely not easy.
And a few triggered ones started a Reddit page on Dr. Jagdish talking about going to US, and people are saying he's entitled. He does not.
Oh,
know.
really?
I'm like, boss.
You are famous, boss.
No, when I joined MBBS, these guys are not even born. So at least I've worked in a PHC also. I don't come from a rich background. There is no nepotism.
True.
I worked
and your dad was in a government service.
I've stayed in a quarters with no tube lights, and only once in a while you will get up when a lizard falls on you. So worked in a PHC, I worked in AIMS, I worked in corporate hospitals, I've also worked abroad. But sometimes if somebody says it is what it is, many people are not able to accept that because they've kind of probably either paid a hefty fee to get into one of these programs and now they are conflicted or their frustrations show up. But sometimes you have to say what it is because there is nobody else who can say that unless somebody has seen the entire spectrum. And those people are not very active on social media or don't have a following, right? So I think that is where, I have nothing to gain by telling somebody to go to US or not go to US. I don't gain anything. But I sometimes feel that...
If you give the right advice. See, I also believe in the same thing. I think that we have I tell everybody to now, for the last many years, if ever there was a time to be in India, this is the time.
Now is the time, yes.
Now is the time. And if you're missing this bus, don't crib about it because it's all about timing at the end of the day.
Sir, every quarter of the year, I get 3 or 4 requests to work in the US, Canada, and UK for both the innovations as well as a doctor. Jagdish, why don't you come here? Why don't you come here? I'm like, my expertise is here. I don't want to go there and be just in the same boat every year. I have a lot of added advantage over here, which I've done over the last 10 years.
Absolutely.
So I want to grow here. Why don't you come here and I help you expand this area, this area? And that is how it is. It's everyone's personal choice, but the choice should be for the right reasons,
Absolutely.
not by saying that there is absolute safety and glory and better quality of life there would not be correct to say.
So, as we wind down, what are your last messages that you want to give our audiences or any? You talk about a lot of things in a couple of your, videos and all of that. Any specific message you want to give them You know, because see, we may have students here, we may have medical students here, we may have
Yeah.
technologists here. I think innovation also. I think there's no other place like India right now to be able to support you in the innovation. And things. Like you said, so many mudra loans are there. The C camp is there. So many
C-Camp.
things are going. So many
State
things
government rules are there.
Yes.
Now for, I think, healthcare startups, the Karnataka state government waivers the GST.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a new scheme where they waiver the GST. You can refund the GST for healthcare startups
I
in
see, I should check that
in
out.
Karnataka.
We run a technology startup, so I think I should check.
A lot
that
of
out.
new schemes have come. Thing is, you have to be in the places where they announce these, and that's largely going to be some hackathon or some healthcare event or some
Correct,
thing.
correct.
So the one advice that I would give anybody in general, not from healthcare or not healthcare today, is that maybe 25, 30 years down the road, the thing that people would follow is follow what somebody else has done and their success story. And I think that was fine for that time because that also held true. But now I think our ecosystem is not comparable. Our environment is not comparable to what was 25 years ago at all. The access to information, the access to technology, and the change in our lifestyle has been so drastic that I would say that don't be scared to try something that you feel you can do and ride on technology to get there. Don't always try to now follow what other people have done, because you may try to follow me, but the things are changing so much that by the time you get to where I am, things would have changed so much more, and I myself would be doing something else, because my motto is to evolve around the world.
Absolutely.
If I was doing 25 years of theatre and moved to stand-up comedy, it's because the theatre scene is dying and the stand-up scene is picking.
Absolutely.
If I'm moving from invasive to minimally invasive, it is because that is how the environment is changing.
Yes, exactly.
If I am moving from importing medical devices to developing my own, because that is how the environment is changing. So change with the environment and adapt is my only advice to people rather than...
Very well said. Like what he's saying, the only thing constant in life is change. For things to change, you have to change. And for things to get better, you have to get better. This is what one of the very famous philosophers called Jim Rohn, used to make.
I understood that when I went in BMTC bus, because the only thing constant is change.
Change. Now you don't need change. You have now the scan.
Yes, now we have the scan.
Scan. And if you go dressed like a lady, then you can even get free.
You don't even have to dress. You just have to identify yourself as one. That's it.
That's true. That's true. Anyway, so I think we had a great chat, and we can cover so many more topics. I think both of us start talking. I don't think we're going to end this at all.
Yes, I think we have created enough controversies in this whole thing that it'll people like to hear. These kind of polarized views.
Correct.
So, but there's nothing wrong in sharing views. And also one disclaimer over here: my views can change. So don't later on say that day he said this, now he said this. That is what change means. When environment changes, your views will also change, and your circumstances change the way you think.
Yes.
So, also take this information with that light, because this is said in a context. And when the context changes, I will also change, and what I'm saying will also change.
And if you don't change, that is stupidity.
Yeah. That will not change, sir.
But that
is remains. It's important to do well when it is important to do well. At the most, it will change to it is not important to do well when it is not important to do well.
That's all. At the most, it's either this way
or that way. Yeah.
So, guys, as we wind down on this podcast, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, share the video for sure, and the bell icon, and comments. Don't forget the comments. We have so many other videos in that channel right now. You can look at it. We don't know which of that is going to be useful for you or your family, and we'll be more than happy to know what's going on. So as usual, every good thing has to come to an end. So the two brothers, who are lost at birth, the real Dr. Sharan and the real Dr. Sharan, maybe we'll chat again. We don't know when we're going to chat again, but for sure. So right now, signing off from the studios of Rebooting the Brain. Yes. Thank you very much, Jagdish, for the fantastic chat we had.
Thank you very much for having me, sir. And I look forward to associating in many different ways going forward.
Will be done. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. So, Jagdish, we have the customary end of the podcast episode to hand over a book to all our guests. The book that we have written, Rebooting the Brain. I only talk the tech language.
Oh, thank you so much, sir.
So, please reboot your brain. It is needed. Others, you will go, defunct.
I will reboot and reroute my brain. But thank you for this, and everyone, get your copy of this. It's available on Amazon.
Yes,
and
Amazon. It is an Amazon bestseller, so it's there.
So, guys, do buy this book. It's an Amazon bestseller, and I think everyone's brain needs to be rebooted. Don't think whether you need to have technical expertise and all of that. But I think this comes from a lot of deep understanding of how the brain works and how you can get yourself to have better brain health, because brain is time. Right, sir? So
Time is brain.
Time is brain. If you have time.
Perfect.
But great.
Thanks, Jaggi.
Thank you. Thanks.
The same example you gave. Now, let's say a army patrol is going, it gets ambushed. One of the things which regimentation does in a tactical scenario is it builds reactive tactical drills.
Correct.
So, if you come under fire, it is that you have to charge into the ambush. Now, if you ask a person, fire is coming from a certain point, will you charge into it? He'll not want to. But that is the safest way to get out of an ambush.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Interesting.
It is, because if you're
I
moving
mean, you actually go into the firing.
because you're reducing distance. Whereas if you're moving away from it, he's not the ambush party is not at risk. Right? So they have time to pick and choose and
So you are
to
actually
eliminate
threatening him back.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
counter.
now he's panicking, probably not responding as well as he would respond. And you're rapidly closing distance.
Got it.
Right? And you're now coming on to it and beating that ambush. So
Interesting.
that has to be regimented into you because it's
Correct.
not a natural response.
Of course. Natural response is FFF.
Yeah.
Fear, fight, flight. You pack up and go. That's what it is.
So the same thing in rest, where otherwise if left to you, like you gave the procedure in an OT, you would want to take a shortcut. But if you have to, but a shortcut leads to risks coming in.
Yes.
So why should you take a shortcut?
Yes,
So you have to be put through that entire process.
One of the few guys from India who's not crazy about cricket. That I thought was, very, very interesting.
My apologies.
Yeah.
But
No,
I
no.
just don't like
They're
cricket.
going to beat you up for this. I think.
And I may be wrong because I just don't find it athletic enough.
It's not challenging enough. A lot of people say, especially Test match is a lazy guy's game. People just when they're hanging around doing this stuff. And I agree with you. There's not. But anyway, I am a cricket buff.
But my apologies.
No, you don't have to apologize.
So for the grander, larger audience.
Yeah. Which are the games that or the sports people that inspired you and why?
Oh, that's a good question again, and that puts me in a spot for the simple reason, I love individual sports because to my mind, individual sports is the acme of, or a representation of pure excellence in its basic fundamental form.
Why do you say that?
I say that because let's say, you see the Olympics, let's say track and field. And you have a 5,000 meter runner or let's say, a 400 meter runner. It is pure will, preparation, training and motivation.
Correct.
Right? You can't there is no external add-on in this. There is no equipment better. There is no opportunity better. It is pure, one human being versus other in their most basic elements. We were deployed on the line of control, and it was a commander, one of my brigadier rank officer, and I was on his the operational staff. At that time we used
This
to
again in Kashmir.
Absolutely. In fact, ahead of Kupwara, north of Kupwara, and we call a brigade major. Now I think they call them because they have upgraded ranks, general staff officer grade 1. At that time, we used to call this appointment a brigade major. So I was a major there, head of operations of that brigade. And as I told you earlier, the Indian posts and the enemy posts are shouting distance. 20 meters, some places less than that also.
20, yeah?
Yeah, 20, 25
Whoa.
meters, that's it. Because it's a
Good
hypothetical
grief.
line which is going in
Crazy. Even now it must be the same, I suppose.
Yeah, nothing has changed in that. That's the same. And these are on spur lines, on mountain tops and various terrain, which is difficult terrain. And this was winters and it snows heavily there. And the paths which go on this spur lines are extremely narrow paths.
Like goat paths.
They are
Goat
goat paths.
paths.
And they are slippery. Once it snows,
Correct,
it becomes
yeah,
slippery also. So this was at night time, and the commander was going to visit one of our posts, which was about 20 meters away from the enemy post. And generally what happens is, because it was a moonless night, and generally you select moonless lights because visibility is lesser, so your movement goes undetected. Somebody must have flashed a torch just to see, I hope we are aligned right. So the enemy post must have seen that flash and go off. So they fired in anticipation. Nowhere were they targeting anybody. They just fired out of, as a
Warning,
deterrence. Exactly. But when they fire, the human tendency is you rush towards cover. I mean,
Correct.
wherever, you may be walking, but you rush forward to try and take
Yeah.
cover. So when he rushed forward, he slipped and fell. And he fell over 100 meters.
Whoa, 100 meters?
Yeah, down. Correction, 100 feet.
100 feet, okay.
100 feet down. So 30 to 40 meters, I would say. But it was extremely steep, over 80 degrees. And
Rugged, probably.
rugged. And he broke his back. So much so, this is for your viewers. One day my daughter, who was in grade 3, I think at that time, she comes home with a worksheet, math worksheet, which says FOUR plus FOUR written in alphabets. FOUR plus FOUR gives you EIGHT. If every alphabet represents a unique number between 0 to 9, find all possible combinations.
Whoa!
This is a child of grade 3. So she came and handed it over to me. I had no idea what to do with it. So I Googled it. And, at that time, there was thankfully, regrettably no chat GPT. So I Googled it. And finally, out of trial and error, I found out these solutions. It's primarily a logic-based trial and error solution.
Got it.
So by elimination, you use elimination to see what fits, what doesn't fit.
Got it.
Right? So the thing is, once I did that, I got the various combinations. And next day when I was dropping her to school, I went and met the math teacher and I said, this is no question to give a child in grade 3. He says, sir, we are not interested in her solving it. We are only wanting her to go through the process of logical elimination. Train her to think logically. Yes, if this happens and this happens, logically this should happen.